Hello, everybody. Happy Saturday. Welcome back to Secrets of Silvercreek. I'm here with the Stream Punks. How's it going, y'all? It's good to see y'all. It's Saturday game day. I always look forward to running this game so much. I love our Dino kids so much. We're on episode 3 now, if you can believe that. Only 5 more to go, and then we all go extinct.
Eric, no.
Gotta save something for the sequel.
Right. So before I jump into today's game, Saturday is usually pretty sparse on announcements, but does anybody have any? No. All right. Well, I've got one. We did this past week record our one-shot vampire session with B. Dave Walters. So that has been pre-taped, and we're going to be getting that out. Do we have? I don't think we have a day yet where we.
I mean, we discussed a day, but if I'm not going to say that day if it is not the day.
Yeah, I don't know.
I will say it was 1 week from when we recorded it was when I understood it was going up.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you for coming with me on that. Thank you for coming with me.
We agreed on the 23rd. The 23rd.
Okay, so we were waiting for Jake on that, and now that we've heard the official announcement, we can tell you that our B-Dave one-shot vampire game will be on the 23rd. And I can go ahead and tell you all that it's going to be a very unique game in that the entire coterie was a chantry of Tremere. We all played Tremere. We're a chantry of Tremere. And it does take place in Los Angeles. So there is that.
You should tune in because things happen. Things get bared.
I have an announcement.
Things do in fact happen. Yes, what's up, Sam?
A chantry of Tremere scans to Pinky in the brain.
I
Go
mean,
have fun in her brain.
Got to save that for the sequel. Yes.
That was my announcement. There we go.
True. Very valid.
Of course, we have. Let's see. This coming Monday, just a day after tomorrow, is our last episode of Clear Skies for October, and then we're going to be doing Blood of the Void. So definitely tune in then because we've had a lot of fun stuff happening on Clear Skies lately. I think the only other announcement I have is that it's time for Sam to say a thing.
Oh, me?
Mm-hmm.
I'm supposed to say a thing.
That's what history has taught me.
But I don't have any announcements.
No? Oh, okay.
No, I'm just here and I'm ready for the game and I'm excited. So please stop holding up the game with this thing that I don't know that I'm supposed to say.
All right, sorry, I take it back. Let's go ahead and jump into today's episode of Secrets of Silvercreek. Welcome back to Secrets of Silvercreek. We're going to jump into today's game. Where we last left off, the citizens of Silvercreek had learned something troubling. Namely, that the home that they've lived at for the past years of their lives, some of them growing up here, has something of a secret. Surprise, surprise. In fact, this former Sati research site is in fact something of a hotbed, as it were. In fact, that this research site was built over what was considered a rather important part of Sati's research network back when it was first founded here in the Cretaceous period, some 80 plus years ago. This one, for whatever reason, has drawn the attention of Sati. And you also learned some of the dark history behind the establishment of Silvercreek. That originally the Sati security guards that were in place here to protect the scientists and researchers turned on them and attempted to burn the site down, destroy the site itself. They were fought off and eventually all of them were killed. The survivors are the ones who built this place into what it is today, hoping that Silvercreek was going to have been forgotten by the Sati main research complex in Kaleno City. Well, that's changed in the past couple of days because you all came across that Sati scout squad. Reporting back after this huge hurricane has blasted through the area, decimating a lot of the plant life and causing all kinds of havoc. In the aftermath of that, you have all finally learned why it was that this research team has been scouting for Silvercreek. This place is something that they want, and it seems like they haven't forgotten about it. We're actually picking up today's game a couple of days after we left off, where the door was revealed in the main research facility. It's been 2 days since that happened, and Silvercreek is still cleaning up from the storm that blew through here. It has not been easy because rain has been intermittent. So a lot of folks are repairing roofs and putting things back together during downpour. The hadrosaur that stampeded through the area have also taken up a bit of a home in the area. And it's gotten to the point where there has been talk of possibly hunting or taking advantage of the fact that this herd is nearby. But they have remained in the area. It's also been something of an alarming development because where herds go, predators go. So it's keeping an eye out for larger predators, particularly one in particular, a legendary predator of this valley who has made his first appearance in about half a decade, Stripe, the Lythornax that appeared very randomly, suddenly rather, I should say, in the middle of that hurricane. And Tego had a very close encounter, making you only the second ever person to come face to face with Stripe and survive. So we start sun up. The sounds of construction, of people shouting out to pass things to them, the sounds of a settlement that is in the middle of reconstruction, essentially. The sounds of things being rebuilt and the occasional parent yelling at a child to get out of the way because they're playing a little too close to where people are building things. And of course, your mornings are always filled with the low hum and sometimes honking sounds of sauropods in the area, grazing upon the grass, or even some of the herds, even some of the pygmy sauropods that you guys have within the confines of Silvercreek itself. Animal life noises never stop here. And that's where we begin. B-Dave, you look like you wanted to say something.
I just had a question, point of clarification.
Yeah.
When we went down into the bunker, did we see what was down there and we're just not revealing it to a dramatically appropriate moment?
No,
or did we
weren't actually. You were the entry to the bunker was revealed, but entry into the bunker has not been gained yet.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if we had actually descended the stairs. So currently we're simply aware that it exists.
Right.
Okay.
And you have been told as well that entry into this bunker is actually something that has been unavailable, as it were. The elders of Silvercreek basically informed all of you that despite the fact that they were original research teams, Dr. Molina has basically expressed that there's really no way to gain entry into this bunker as well as she knows. She has no idea how to gain access or who has the access codes. It has just been a sealed off bunker that they cannot access or get into. Now, some debate has started. I should go ahead and add this because the conversation did not end there. There's been a lot of debate over what the next course of action is. And some of you even suggested, just let Sati have it. Just let them come in and take it and then get the hell away from us. That has been hotly debated. It's not off the table. Because despite the fact that you learned this terrible story from Dr. Becker, that back in the day, the Sati security teams put scientists up against the wall and shot them when they were trying to burn the place down. That was 60 years ago. It's entirely possible that this, and who knows if they were acting on, like, whose orders they were acting on. So much could have changed in 6 decades. It's entirely possible that if Sati showed up, they would just want access because nobody here apparently has ever been inside that bunker. So it's not like you know any forbidden information or something. There's been a lot of debate over whether or not you guys should reach out to Sati and just say, come take your damn information or whatever it is you want and leave us alone. That has been part of the conversation for sure. It is tempered by fear that Sati will Sati. And I'm guessing, just off the top of my head, I am guessing that River has been very pro don't let Sati in here.
Absolutely. Sati hasn't changed much in 60 years. Are you kidding me? He wants them nowhere near this and is pro we like figure out what's in there and like keep them away from it.
Yeah, so River, as somebody who grew up in Kaleno City, you know certain cultural facts about Sati that a lot of people here at Silvercreek save, maybe even more so than Dr. Molina. Because even though Dr. Molina was one of the original members of the first commute, the truth is she has not been in the inner circles of Sati in 60 plus years. As a result of that, you know a little bit more about what's actually going on in that city in that time. Now, I should go ahead and tell you guys too, just so you guys have this player information, that Silvercreek does occasionally join trading caravans on the Chalk Road, making economic pushes into the inlands of La Remedia and going into Kaleno City. However, it's a very small group, like 3 or 4 people bringing goods, and you're intermixed with the traded caravans. And this was done specifically to protect the location and the existence of Silvercreek. So there have been people who have come and gone and seen Sati, but no one really knows it like somebody who was a part of it. And River, you know some of the darker histories that happened after the last commute, or the great howling when time travel suddenly ceased, where that great noise shattered the sky, and all of a sudden the equipment that brought people from the future where you were all descended from shattered and ceased to work. You know little things like in the first decade when Sati was trying to establish a government, they imposed some pretty draconian rules of law upon the citizenry in fears that they were going to lose control of all of the people who had come back and worked. They had to build a central government. So they did things that were not great. Sati has since become a stable bedrock of civilization here in the Cretaceous period. But they are still the de facto central government of humanity. And it is still worth noting that while some people have grown into a position of leadership, that Sati was not originally founded by people who knew how to, quote unquote, rule over civilization. So you would get little things like in the very beginning, fearing that humanity might die out here. One of the darker aspects of that was Sati imposed a law designating how breeding was going to work among humanity here in Kaleno City. It was only a few years worth of that law being in place before the people of Kaleno City fought back against that. Sati has basically, in those early days, were throwing paint at the canvas to find out how to get government to work in this primitive world with a bunch of people who were never meant to be trapped back here. As Sati is today, it is good and bad. There are good and bad aspects to it. But it's not outside of plausibility, River, that when Sati wants something, especially something that used to be theirs, the entitlement will turn them to ruthlessness.
And, you know, they have a history of control, so I wouldn't put it past them.
Right.
Yeah. Great. So River is firm. So anytime anyone even vaguely suggests maybe just handing it over, River shoots them down. Shoots
it down?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where is everyone else standing at amongst the group? Like what are my
what would everybody be doing this morning?
Or do you mean opinions on where everyone's at, or where everyone at is?
Yeah, just if you voiced opinions, like I think River would be like clocking those as well. And if any of you were like, maybe we should hand it over, like she's gonna have a talk with you.
Tego's got an opinion. He's like, 60 years. That ain't no time. If Molina and Dr. Becker have survived out here on the pointy end, fighting and scraping every day, who knows how many of them people live in Kush and Kalino City are still around. Far as we know, them people that pull the trigger, kill all them scientists, they're the ones still pulling the strings. I say no.
Okay. It's a hard no from Tego.
Thank God.
Hard no.
It's a no for me, dog.
Yeah, we're not going to do that, I'm kind. So I would say for the most part.
Yeah.
What's
Go
that?
ahead. I'm really trying to think of what Echo thinks, because Echo, I imagine anytime it's brought up, has probably almost tried to like out of the room, like, oops, oh no, like we're talking about it again. This makes me uncomfortable, you know. There's she's probably a couple of times when someone's disagreed, like, you know, like when you don't want to say your opinion, but when someone sort of voices something that resonates with you, you kind of give the like quiet nod. And then if anyone's like, oh, you agree with that? It's like, I didn't do anything, you know? So I think anytime there's been kind of any argument of like, this is our home, no one gets to touch it. It's like a, you know, there's a head nod. But anytime there's like but let's just give them the thing so they leave us alone, there's also probably been a, like, Echo's conflicted. She likes her home. She doesn't want anyone here, but she also doesn't want to see it burn, is where her thing is. She will defend the crap out of it if that's what gets decided. But starting over out here is really hard.
So resistant to change, essentially.
Yes, resistant to change.
Yeah. And the change that having Sati here would inevitably bring, because who knows, they may not leave once they arrive. They might decide Silvercreek is theirs to reclaim.
Yeah.
Since this was originally a Sati site.
They might realize that the site moved and decide to plant themselves here. And then what about home?
Yeah. So Echo's on the stance of, this is complicated and I don't have the answers. Can you stop looking at me?
A frustrated Karn, like, why are you look, just point me at it, I'll beat it to death and we can move on with our lives.
You already said we can't use Goose to break the door down, so I don't know what you want from me.
Okay. So we'll say the discussions over the past couple of days have been quite heated. What's up?
Well, I do have something else, but I want to make sure that Penny gets to weigh in on the before I say anything.
Yeah. I've been kind of trying, like, quietly, I guess, because, you know, I don't think anyone really wants to hear from me about it. Penny's the minority opinion. Because to them, we don't know what it is at all, and we can't get in. So it's not really, like, it's about whether a thing we don't know should be given over to people who may be good and may be bad. We know absolutely nothing. And so it kind of feels like, do we take a chance on maybe things could be good and be better than they are now by trusting people, even if maybe we don't trust them completely and have good reasons? This is either a thing that's only good, a thing that's only bad, or a thing that's a mixture, but we have no idea which one it is. So
I hate mixtures.
yeah, no, those were the worst. And then I just kind of back up again Like, I remember no being too loud. Just put it away.
You ain't wrong, Penny. Problem is, it might be good, but I don't know about you, but I ain't come across too many unanticipated good things in this world. And if it's bad, it's catastrophic. You saw what them 6 soldiers was packing, them 2 trikes. Imagine 5 times that standing around here, and we ask them to go. What do you think they're gonna do? No.
If we knew what was in there, it would be different. We would know whether or not we should hand it over. But we don't know. All we know is this was like research or something, which probably means it wasn't just terrible, awful, hopeless, bad weapon stuff.
Yeah,
Maybe there's a chance things could be good, but if they're the only ones who can get in and find out, then we'll never know. We will fight just because we can't trust it all.
You're also assuming that they would want to share that good thing with us.
Well, maybe only a few other people get a good thing, and we don't get it. And that kind of sucks, but it's better than no one having the good thing, right?
No, Penny. And I literally put my hands on their face, and I'm just like, this is our good thing. We're our good things. That ain't worth losing.
Okay, yeah.
You get a head nod.
Yeah, sure.
That does remind me of one thing. And I like pull out a bag of just like, hemp, like mismatched things that I've kind of like sewed together and kind of drop it on the table with a loud bang with the helmet and the chest plate that I was able to recover from the soldier.
Okay.
And just sort of edge it towards Echo. Any of that fits you?
Starts rummaging through it.
If I'm
gonna not holds up the fact that it looks exactly like Sati, like tire, and just like, I'm gonna have to tweak a lot of this.
Yeah, we scuff it up for you, but it, still stop a horn or a claw, I figure.
All right.
Clever one. Stuff it up. Usually.
Just smear some berries on it and then pretend like you don't want Clever to have it.
I never thought of that. That's so smart.
That seems to be the case. You know how many times I've dropped food for Clever and then they don't want it anymore? I have to be holding it. It's very confusing.
It's you. Clever has to win. If you just drop it, how do you win?
That I understand. All right, I take some stuff off this thing. Could I add some gear to myself? I want some of this gear.
So, yeah.
I don't wear... the only armor I protect myself is just my inner organs with a little bit of leather. That's it. I've already been, like, so wounded before without any armor. It's, pain. What is it? It happens a lot where we are.
Yeah, so first of all, I should tell you that what you have here is light armor.
Okay.
And
I already have light armor. That's my core suit.
Well, what you could do is you can add this to the light armor you have to gain a medium armor set.
Oh, sweet.
Because so much what you have is mishmashed together as it is.
Yes.
So if you want to use like an arm plate,
it's a hand-me-down village.
Yeah, totally. So you could absolutely do that. Now, medium armor, basically what that does is it's going to give you -2 resistance or -2 to damage. So anytime you take damage, you subtract 2 off of that, which means this armor by default can soak fire from a light weapon.
Ooh.
So if someone shoots you with a pistol and doesn't roll high or spend effort or whatever, you should be able to shrug it off.
I will say, just as an aside, especially since some time has passed, while I had this armor, I did show it to Skystone and like just talk about like the structural capacity of the armor. Like, it's lighter than I expected. Looks like it might be, you hit him here or here. You know what I mean? Like really be like, oh, this is what we're up against. Knock, knock, knock. Listen, blowtorch the side of it. Look.
Right.
Just to get some idea.
Yeah.
I imagine that also Echo volunteered to be the dummy while wearing the thing and being like, all right, punch me. Didn't feel anything. Like, let's see how hot it gets. And like,
it's like at that moment in A Knight's Tale. It's like that moment in A Knight's Tale where you're just taking the impact to the chest.
Exactly.
Like, feel a thing.
Exactly. Gotta test it.
Yep. But yeah, get some data on what we're up against. You know what I mean? Because they seem so scary, but you're like, this is their real capability type thing.
So yeah, one of the things that you notice about this armor is that it is not made with materials it is not made from easily to reproduce synthetic material here in the Cretaceous period. This is a certain type of weave that only Sati typically have. So one of the things that you notice is that there's a couple of Sati has been able to genetically modify bone structure and been able to genetically modify spider web and little things like that in order to weave together fibers that can construct things that would not be anywhere close to available in our modern day, present day, real life setting. So like a medium armor plate like this on a Sati could easily, let's put it this way, they would be able to survive the impact if 9 were to club them. This is like heavy duty, resilient, lightweight armor that is considered quite advanced and would be a prize to take if anybody were to kill a Sati security officer. It looks very similar to a much more retro, a little, not quite as bland looking, but essentially like, think of like the breastplate to like a stormtrooper's armor uniform, where it's just this sort of, it doesn't have the gloss, it's more of a matte color, but it is a grayish white plate that goes down across the front part of your chest. And it has the Sati logo up on the side. It straps on and it conforms to your body. The moment you put it on, it kind of just slides in. Incredibly comfortable, breathes quite well.
Yeah. And I will say before I gave it to her, I definitely would have smudged out the Sati because I know it's got a helmet. Tego would know. It wouldn't want her to immediately walk out like, yeah, pow, 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 Yeah.
Yeah. The helmet itself.
I don't want to scare the children.
The helmet itself is kind of made out of the same material. If you add the helmet on, it keeps it medium armor. So you can wear the helmet if you want. It could come into handy if you ever come into contact with like any kind of noxious fumes, which is totally possible here in the Cretaceous period. Of course, there are plenty of volcanoes that are not exactly healthy to breathe around. So that is always a thing.
Huh. Well, I'm gonna have to modify this. Oh, I can give it to the kids. Yeah, that's their project for the day. I rally up Tego's and a handful of the village kids, and I'm like, here's your craft, like here's your coloring book for the day. And I'm like, you can do whatever you want to it because we've tested it because I know they can't hurt it. So it's like, you can attach whatever you want. You can use whatever paints, any materials. Have fun. So that, because I'm not going to wear this helmet unless I'm in danger. I don't need an exoskeleton. But I do want the chest plate because I do value not destroying any of my vital arteries and the like. So that part I want nice. So I just want to make sure that the parts that cover the veins that make you bleed out very
Mhm.
quickly are covered.
Okay.
Don't really, my head, whatever. I'm cute. I want it shown.
All right.
I lost Eric's camera. Is anybody?
Yeah, my background's having problems. So I just got rid of it.
Okay.
All right. So, all right. So you've got, let's see, this armor. It, like I said, yeah, it fits on well. What else have we got on this thing? You see a couple of like packs as well. There was some utility that's kind of wrapped around. You notice that it does have some of the like leather straps that come equipped with like, you know, like the modern day stuff that you would like if you were to keep grenades on a pack or like a bandolier. There is some of that available. There's no like advanced weapons, unfortunately. So you don't see anything that's like too exciting in that regard. It looks like it's mostly just the armor. The rifle, however, is probably the one standout. That's probably where things get really rifle, so it does 4 damage.
Did anybody else lose him for a second
Yeah, I
there?
lost him for a second.
Okay, all right.
You guys see me now?
Yes.
We couldn't even hear you for a second there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a medium rifle. Does 4 points of damage.
I don't want the gun.
River looks at Tego. If you're not going to take it, I'm going to.
You have at it. You helped me fish him out of the river. You're just as entitled.
She takes the rifle. 4 damage, you said?
Yeah, it does 4 points of damage. It uses plasma rounds. So these are not like slug throwing rounds. These are high energy plasma rounds, essentially. So 4 damage, and it is two-handed. You cannot fire this thing with a single hand. So just take note of that. That's not usual for a medium weapon, but
Same thing. I would say one of the things Tego would have done with this is I realized it's only got so many rounds, but
Mhm.
like a hunk of meat we had carrying, like shoot like a big like Bronto steak or something, you know, just to kind of observe what it does to the tissue to see if it's like especially effective against flesh or something like that. Does it like burn it up excessively or anything like that? Same thing, trying to get a gauge of what they're capable of.
So you want to fire a round of this rifle at the tissue of like
At the risk of being meta, in the days between when I got it in here, we kind of already did. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah,
you know,
no,
like
that's fine. Yeah.
yeah.
Popping off a round of this rifle, what you discover is that it has very little recoil and does the damage of a full combat rifle. It is semi-automatic, and it is a standard weapon for Sati to use. Yeah. Does have a strap over it too, so you don't have to always carry it. You just slap it over, carry it on your back.
Yeah, she slings it over her shoulder for sure.
Okay. You now have a Sati combat rifle.
I don't think I can ask the kids to paint this one.
You could.
Probably better not to. Y'all know.
Echo just thinks like, we've been training them with weapons, don't even.
Oh, it's camouflage. You know, that is one thing, y'all. They lost at least one of theirs during the storm. We don't know what fate befell the rest of them or where they might be set up camp. Even if we're not trying to run them off, might be worth finding out.
Oh, damn, I just got an idea. I agree. I think that we should go out there and see if we can find them before they get here. And if there's any way to figure out by whatever means necessary, we should kind of let that hang in the air for a second. By whatever means necessary, if we can figure out from them, if we can pull from them what they're looking for here specifically, maybe we can get an understanding of what's down there. Get them before they get here, and then keep them from getting them anywhere else. That would be my suggestion.
What do you think, River? Or Penny, sorry. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, they should be pretty easy to find. We know this area and they don't. So we have the navigation advantage. We know where good spots are. We know where to look for them. So if you want to find them, that sounds like a good idea. We shouldn't wait for them to come here because then we wouldn't know stuff, right? I look to River and I look to Echo a little bit like, right? Did I tactics right?
Echo is giving the head nod. The like that's been her mood lately. Less talking. There's a lot of talking.
There's just a little bit of like
but Echo does give a little bit of a like, okay, well if everyone's going searching, I'm cool to stay here to make sure that in case we've already missed them and they are on their way. You can track out there and I can keep this perimeter. I know what we're looking for, so.
Eric, from my time from River's time at Sati, would River know where they like keep their like mission objectives? Like, do they keep it on just like a specific data pad? Do they like carry it on a scroll? Like, obviously not.
Briefcase.
No, that's not something that, I mean, it's possible that the commanding officer would probably have a data pad that has a list of their mission objectives.
Okay.
But
we saw their data pad. It had the light thing.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, if River wants to knock these people out and then loot them and then try to figure out if we can figure out what's under in our bunker, that's her current game plan. So she's like, what do I need to be searching for on them? Like, do I need to, like, are the data pads the first thing I go for? And if she would think so because of her experience with Sati, like, that's what she's going to tell the group. It's like, go for the data pads the second we knock them out.
We saw that she had a data pad.
Yeah. So I think that all things considered, unless like basically I'm just asking the GM, unless prior knowledge would make me believe otherwise, River's gonna tell everyone, we should see if we can gather their data pad.
Okay. So I'm picturing all of you kind of huddled around inside somebody's, wherever, like, you guys have a house here in Silvercreek, whoever has like a living space inside the settlement itself. I'm picturing all of you all kind of huddled around the center, like in the living room, as it were, having this discussion. You're talking about, would you say that's accurate? Where is this taking place?
Yeah.
Having a discussion.
We've established Tago's got a place because that.
Okay.
Down and I don't think Echo would want this many people at her house.
River was at her house too, but
Neither would Goose.
No, neither would Goose.
All right. So Tago's then?
Tagos.
Okay. All right. So as a lot of you you're having a discussion essentially about taking a scouting party out, you guys going out and hunting down the Sati that are probably on their way back to Kaleno City, presumably. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the whole time this meeting is happening, Steenie is incredibly annoying and is like, why are there so many people in this house that aren't playing with me? Full golden retriever mode, and just keeps like knocking everyone halfway through their sentences, like, you're making sounds and it's not at me. And eventually Steenie gets annoyed and bored and just like plops their head on top of Tago and like kind of purr whines at you.
We're gonna get out soon, girl. I promise. And we're gonna go soon. Yeah.
you
have a very frustrated Dakota Raptor that wants to get out there right now.
Clever is stealing from you currently.
Stealing?
Stealing.
I'm not the rogue in my party for once. It's my dinosaur.
I'm just a rogue in real life. Anyway, yes. Clever stealing.
What are you going for?
I think oh no. No, I think that Clever like sees the kids' toys, and then there's just a part of her that like understands. It's like, I'm not gonna touch those. Those things, like, they're awful. And
Those smell like kids. Gross.
not even
Those are off
sure.
limits.
Right. And those terrible little ones chase you a lot when you have them. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. It's like, I'm not gonna pick a fight because I don't want that fight. So she's gonna move on to Tago's stuff, and I think that. I mean, can you describe your living quarters to me a little bit, Tago?
He probably doesn't have much. Like I envision this again as kind of like a structure that has like been built up around a tree. So there's like a central tree because down in the roots is where Steenie is. So it's just kind of like almost like a glorified deer stand, really. Like I mean, the floors are pretty solid because I weigh a lot and she bumps on them at night. So if they weren't, she'd have broken them already. And the walls are then kind of just enough to kind of keep the wind and the rain out. You know, the walls are thinner with just like tarps laying over them. He's got a bed that is probably 30% too little for him, but that's what was available for salvage.
B-Dave, are you pulling from real life?
I mean, maybe. I went to college. You know, lots of milk crate furniture, lots of spray painted 2x4s, you know, to add some. There's you would find he's got a lot of trophies that don't seem like they would mean anything, like from like given like a rock from a hunt or like one tooth, but it might be broken, like nothing that like objectively is valuable when you look at it. Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what Clever is gonna go for. So if you have like amongst the like tarts, if you have any like of the teeth like actually like strung up, I think that's what Clever is doing is jumping and trying to get to the teeth and snapping at them, and then not quite getting there. And so you just that's what she's gonna occupy herself with. And halfway through this conversation, she's gonna get it, and it's just gonna go crashing down. So we'll call that one that happens. Right now, she's just jumping and playfully snapping at the teeth.
Okay.
What time of day is it?
So right now it's just a little after sunrise. So I would probably put it around 8:30 in the morning.
So we can still go out today.
Oh yeah, you've got a full day in front of you.
Yeah. I don't know how good I feel about leaving Goose behind, but he ain't.
Oh
exactly
no, I'm not
subtle.
coming.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
But he-
I mean, aren't you guys trying to stealthily find them? Goose isn't exactly stealthy.
That's true, but we were trying to be stealthy last time too. And Nines, sweet boy that he may be, you know, kind of just went barreling right at everybody. As off in the distance, something crashes and people scream. It's that case in point.
If you want to stay here, Echo, you can. But I think that I agree with Tago. Last time we tried stealth, and we might need a little bit more force to get the information we want this time.
Yeah, come with us.
Clever.
Clever! No!
And you hear a squawk of happiness, and you get a tooth in your lap, my friend.
A tooth?
A tooth, yeah. Clever got the tooth that she was going for and gives it to Penny, and gives Penny this wide-eyed, like, did I do good? And crawls into her lap and wants a, did I do good?
Scritch, 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 scritch. Sorry on my face, but scritching.
You see, Taco kind of like wraps an arm around Steenie's muscle and like puts a hand over one of her eyes so she doesn't notice this and murder Clever. Gonna pull her head in a little bit. Yeah. Like, yeah. Why don't we just go take a look around? Again, we don't got to scuffle if we don't have to, but who knows? They might still be on their heels from the storm and the flooding if they was caught unawares. So might be advantageous.
Just for fun, Steenie, this is not the first time you have had to stop Steenie from seeing a thing. So she, of course, thinks it's a game, and this is she lets you, and then fights it, and then puts her whole face against your face to make you can't see anything, and then ducks back into your hands and just plays peekaboo with you over and over, and just kind of keeps like, okay, this is the time when Dada makes darkness, you know.
We're doing peekaboo. Okay. Oh, I can't see nothing, Steenie. You got me. Okay. All right.
I'm just trying to picture like a 12-foot long Dakota Raptor. No, you're longer than that. 12-foot long is you're more closer to like
19,
16 feet long, isn't it?
19 long, yeah.
Yeah, 19 long. So I'm just trying to picture this incredibly large, lethal predator that's literally just playing peekaboo with you right now.
And again, it's always, even though it's playful, it's always like a more of a roughhouse than you would think.
Oh, yeah.
Like people watching are like, are you in danger? Like, it's, you do know it can kill you, right? And he's no, it's fine.
Yeah. Lions get up to about 5.5. I think the largest lion was like 5.5 to 5 feet at the shoulder. And playing with lions, it's kind of the same philosophy here. Like, you're playing with this, yes, Jody, massive dinosaur. And there's no way, Tego, that you play with this animal who adores you, but is also a primitive, like, lizard brain, intelligent predator who could kill any of you at any particular moment.
Believe it or not, that's the root of our connection. She's the one thing I don't have to worry about hurting. So,
Okay.
mm-hmm.
Right on. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I'll come.
We're just gonna take a look around.
Okay.
And usually Tego stops and looks at you and he goes, what's the problem? Last time you didn't want to fight him, which is fine, and now you don't want to go out again. What's going on in that coconut, Echo?
This coconut is thinking the more we interact with them, the more complicated this is going to get.
If things go the way that I want them to, this will be the last time we interact with them ever.
This particular group, the more we involve ourselves, the more this becomes our responsibility, is all this is, okay?
The more we don't take action, the greater chance they stand of finding us.
Yeah, they know we're around here somewhere. They seen the 5 of us. They seen our beasts. They know we got a settlement. They got a map. They know Silvercreek's around here. They ain't giving up.
I know, except last time we found them and then there was confrontation. There's a difference between, I'm just saying there's a difference between finding something and hunting something, okay? That's all.
Yeah, there is. I don't want to hurt nobody that I ain't got to. But I ain't gonna let nothing happen to Silvercreek neither.
I said I'm coming. I don't want anything to happen to my home either.
He does just sort of like slap on the arm that again is like a little overly broy.
Echo's not so, she's tough, but it's a little more like wiggly tough. She knows she understands the way her body weight works and how to use it. So instead of like standing firm like most Karns would, where it just hits and reverberates, she kind of leans with it and it like lets the shockwave go through her rather than standing firm.
If Echo were a Pokemon, she would be wiggly tough.
Exactly.
Thank you. I'm glad we were both hearing the same thing when we were giggling.
How do you know my nickname from childhood?
Yep,
Okay.
and I guess We
All right.
make sure
Yeah.
that, the powers that be know our goal is to just go out and see if we can find them,
Okay. So
they
we're
set
going
up-
to cut to
they
that
set-
encounter.
Have they set up camp? Are they hurt? Blah, blah, blah. Yep. Mhm.
Okay. So you all find yourselves standing in front of Dr. Amalia Molina. And the old woman's looking at you with this expression on her face that denotes kind of what you were anticipating, a little bit of incredulity and kind of like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, look on her face. And she doesn't say anything. You're not being rebuffed here. It looks like she takes a long moment to consider what you've proposed. And then she echoes what
Someone said my
Echo
name?
said.
Yeah.
What Echo's mentioned. She echoes what Echo said by saying, the more engagements we have with them, the more complicated this is going to be for all of us. But it may be too late. Is your intention to kill them?
No.
No.
Never the intention.
River says nothing.
But they're already down at least one. Presumably, whatever circumstances took him, the others were fighting against as well. They might already be at minimal strength. The question I got for you, Doctor, on the off chance we do have guests, do you want somebody hale, hearty, and conscious brought back here to negotiate?
If you're put in a position where you have to kill them, there'll be no position to negotiate. Sati will send a bigger squad the next time. And they'll consider us a threat. Best not to take it that far. But if somebody survives, I would request that you brought them back here so we could have a chance to heal them.
Echo's nodding. Echo looks very uncomfortable at what's happening right now.
Yeah. Dr. Molina, she rubs her temples for a moment and just says, we're put in an impossible situation where we have to consider the fact that in order to protect our home, we might have to do things we don't want to do. Things that we would never normally do.
With all due respect, Doctor, how's that different than literally every other day?
It's different, Tego, because I trust Mother Nature more than I trust humankind.
We already know Mother Nature wipes us all out.
Not all of us.
Well, we can reserve these discussions for another time. You should head out soon if you're going to leave.
Okay. Yeah. And Penny takes the first socially acceptable opportunity to bounce out of this one.
Okay.
I do need to do one more thing. I need to find Taven, our injured merchant.
All right. So as you all leave the encounter with Dr. Molina, you see this has taken a toll on her. As everyone is leaving, you see the old woman leaning hard on her cane as she settles herself down in a hammock and sits there gently swaying back and forth for a moment near her home here in Silvercreek. And she's clearly disturbed by this. You can see the weight on her shoulders as an elderly woman pushing 109 years old. She's This is the first time you've seen her and thought that she looked frail. As she swings back and forth gently on the vine, clutching the staff. So, moments later, you enter the medical facility, which is essentially a very large reinforced tent with some wall structures built up on the inside to sort of turn this into an easily collapsible makeshift building, essentially. And as you walk inside, you are immediately drenched in that amber-colored glow of the sunlight coming through the leather tarp of this covering of this place. There's about 8 medical beds in here. They're not like cots or anything. They're actual beddings fashioned from materials and carved and whatnot. A lot of this is advanced material. So one of the medical beds is in fact metal here with like a cushioned that has endured over the time. There are no sheets here, however. But as everyone is laying, you do see there are still people in recovery. A few people in here, but not necessarily in the beds, but that are being treated for injuries sustained during the storm. And you see Tavin, who's in here having a conversation with what looks like one of the survivors from the encounter with the Time Terror on the river. He is standing, he has his arm in a sling. He is talking to one of the survivors as you all approach, and when he sees you, his face brightens a little bit. And the older man moves around the corner of the bed and approaches all of you and says, "Hey, I was hoping to talk to all of you today."
That's good. Tavin, good to see you up and around.
Thanks. Arms healing all right? How are you all doing?
Managing fine, I suppose.
Good, good.
I myself just had a couple of quick questions for you.
Yeah, ask away. Anything I can answer?
I lean in closer and I say, any of these travelers with you hail from Kalino City by chance?
All of them do.
In any chance that you perhaps might have been tailed here?
Well, we were on the river. If we were tailed, I'm sure I would have seen something.
And like you see Tego very much looking at the survivors from Kalino City, having gone from like, yay, we got to help these people, to a look that all of you recognize as he's very actively contemplating killing them all. Like,
oh boy.
he doesn't say anything, but when he's like, all of them are from there, he's like,
with that predatorial gaze just kind of sweeping over the tent and looking at all these injured people like,
right.
Okay, River is gonna put a hand on your shoulder and do a quick, let's talk outside. Don't kill them now, is what she's hoping for.
I would say, especially since you guys know him, you hear he starts doing his deep breaths, his like, be cool routine.
Okay, in that case, Tavin kind of does give you that. There's a very specific. This is a little inside baseball, but there's a very specific moment in the final season of this past season of The Expanse where someone makes the unfortunate decision to punch our favorite engineer in the face, and the look that engineer gives him is enough to cause this reaction where he just kind of, his eyes widen a little bit as he realizes he's not looking at a man as much as he's looking at a beast that's on a leash, ready to just pounce when he needs to. And that's kind of the look that Tavin gives you. You start glancing around. He just kind of, his brow furrows a little bit as he stares at you, and the concern is visible on his face. He doesn't seem to understand why the sudden shift has taken place. So he doesn't say anything. He doesn't take any action to begin. But you all notice this on Tavin looking at Tego like, what?
River's gonna like put an arm on like his shoulder in a way of like, I don't think she thinks she can hold him back, but I think that she wants him to know that she's gonna try.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. You all really, he kind of stops tall. You see his fist clench, which you know you all realize he has a process.
Mm-hmm.
But he's just kind of standing there, kind of like, Be cool. Be cool. Be cool. Be cool. Be cool.
Yeah.
Tego, we should step outside for a moment.
Yeah, but he said he had something he wanted to tell us as well, didn't you, Taven?
I just wanted to say good afternoon and thanks for helping me. That we're all healing up pretty good around here. I just hadn't got a chance to talk to you. I mean, ending up on the river, and then everything that happened with the Sati people up north, and then the storm. It just hasn't been a chance to thank you properly. That's pretty much what I wanted to talk to y'all about.
That's very kind of you.
No. The kindness is all on you. Like, I owe you my life. All of these people do. Thank you.
Maybe we should step outside.
Yeah,
Okay.
at this point, it's kind of like Echo has been moving herself between, is noticing that River is sort of guiding him out, and Echo like gets in front of him and like holds eye contact, like,
Okay.
you're on territory that is very bad. And it's kind of like when a friend is really drunk at a bar and you're kind of surveying, like, sorry about that. Gonna handle this because oh boy, am I currently a little particularly embarrassed, and is looking around for my boy. And yeah, so you get the stare, Tego, of like, walk outside.
Yeah, honestly, considering both your background and the fact that you're a Karn,
Yeah.
there's nobody here more capable of identifying the predatory gaze than you, Echo. You know when a fellow Karn is on the verge of violence.
Yeah. And I just look at you and I go, this is a medical tent.
He does take like one, like very slowly start walking backwards, but I'm looking at these people quite different now. Before it was like, oh yeah, that guy's leg is hurt. Oh, she's patching well. Now he's like, there's 6 of them. That man ain't gonna be able to run too far. She got a bad arm. You know, just like that's the man.
Yeah.
As he is like slowly kind of backing out of the tent, and he goes, good day, Taven. Good to see you on the mend.
He doesn't look like he knows how to take that when you say that, as you're like almost seething, and as you leave, he just goes, yeah, and watches you remove yourself from the area with Echo leading you out.
Yeah. Echo is very grateful for River right now, because if Echo doesn't like putting hands on Tego. That doesn't end well. There is strength there, and there's response to strength to Tego when he's like this. And I think River is a little more gentle with hands than Echo might have been.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right, so you're all outside the medical tent now, and you've all seen this reaction from Tego.
I think that River responds immediately, like, I don't like it either, but I'm not going to get far on those injuries. And we don't have time to deal with this right now. I say we station someone here.
Hey, yeah, somebody got to keep an eye on them. Look, I don't know them people, but if they're from Kalino City and at some point make their way back there with the counting of all this. And he's like kind of pacing, but like just like very slightly pacing, just like 3 steps in either direction. Like,
there's citizens, Tego.
We stationed someone here. We don't trust anyone just yet.
There's citizens. Do you think they're spies? If there were spies, that information would have gotten back by now.
We're not going to deny them hospitality. We're still going to keep treating them. We just have someone be a pair of eyes for us while we're gone.
Echo, we know that time tear dropped on their heads as unexpected as anything. Whatever they might have wanted to do ain't happening. And they all might be completely well-meaning, but all it takes is for them to get back and tell their story of where they got knitted up. And we're done for.
the name Silvercreek would be named, not Sati, undisclosed location. Okay? We're not exactly a not known town. We're on the trade route, Tago.
But we're set back off the trade route, Echo. They ain't never been here before. We
That doesn't
come to
mean
them.
no one. We get visitors. Okay, this isn't the first person to ever come from out of town, Tago. They're people from a town. Just like us.
Penny.
Penny is has been outside and has been respectfully closing distance to interact with the hadrosaurs in the background. It's very much a way of deflecting from all of the conflict and the tension that they don't really want a part in. So they have focused on the newly arrived pack and just like maybe making friends. Really done with people right now. Dinosaurs are just a cleaner energy and can conceivably have good vibes. And no.
I want you to know that
Yes.
Clever just wants to make sure that she is still your favorite. So you better be distributing an equal amount of pets to Clever as well.
One hand,
There will
so
be riches.
I know exactly this animal behavior.
What?
So there's one hand that's entirely dedicated to scritching while I do literally everything else. So just
So
like
you're-
attached to my leg with claws.
So you're just outside the settlements observing the hadrosaur, is that right? That's where you
Yeah.
kind of wandered off to? Okay.
So I like to figure that for purposes of blocking, this is a walk and talk and now has arrived at that location.
Yeah, you get there just in time to see two large male hadrosaurs slamming into each other as some of the herd kind of moves aside. Clearly some kind of they've had a disagreement over who has mating rights here as these two hadrosaurs smash into each other and kind of move around. The dangerous thing about hadrosaurs, their tails, of course. They're able to utilize those with exquisite lethality. And these two males are constantly testing each other's ability to stay on their feet as they'll collide, rub up against each other's side, throw their head backs, and bleat out a near ear-shattering honk that can probably be heard for miles. Hadrosaurs, of course, their entire heads being built to honk like no creature has honked on this earth. A bunch of the herd has begun to sort of push away from the area of where this conflict is happening. Eventually, Penny, you watch one of the smaller hadrosaur actually, in a stroke of pure luck, gets a tail swipe in that sends the other one completely off of its feet. It's possible that larger one was injured from the fall. Remember, these animals weigh tons. And falling over for a dinosaur is dangerous, which is one of the reasons why these fights can be so lethal sometimes. It's also, fun fact, sidebar, one of the reasons why sumo is one of the most dangerous martial arts in the world. So as this hadrosaur hits the ground, the smaller one does what animals do after a fight has happened. It immediately sort of disengages and bounces away for a second, and then begins to circle back around to watch this larger male try to pick itself up. Eventually it does, but Penny, immediately you can tell that larger male it's done for. It's moving slower. It's not moving. You can tell there's obviously an issue with its leg. If Stripe is still in the area or another predator is around, that is a dead hadrosaur. That hadrosaur has probably got a few. I mean, it will be the strongest, only the strongest survive kind of situation here, in that if this hadrosaur does not find a way to make that leg work properly in the next 24 hours, the herd will probably leave it.
I mean,
That's how it goes. That's how it
yeah,
goes.
so here's the I don't think it's 24 hours. I think Goose is in the area.
Yeah, Goose is definitely in the area. There is a tyrannosaur in the area.
The next sequence of these events
Yeah.
is the
So I
entrance
think the
of
moment
who has
he's-
been outside of like the direct anything. And as you say, a large herd of hadrosaurs attracts predators.
Where is Goose right now?
There's a sort of like exit stage left pursued by bear. I think Goose barrels into frame just as we see the stumbling. This is just there's an opportunity that is being taken.
So like the scene in Jurassic Park with the Gallimimus running like crazy, and all of a sudden the T-Rex enters in the stream.
I'll give
But
you
about
something
that
to
point,
run about. Yes.
So because you are so in tune with dinosaur, Penny, the moment you see this happening and you see things calming down for a bit as the larger hadrosaur begins to lift itself off the ground, beautiful coloration on this animal. It has like sort of a dark green, almost forest green colored skin with this purple, like mottled purple stripe going down its back where it meets the feathers that are kind of coming off the little bit of the back of its neck. And in just like a few seconds before the event, the herd suddenly shifts left and begins to dash in another direction. Enough that as far back as where Silvercreek is right now, you can hear the thunder of hundreds of tons of animals suddenly shifting in panic as emerging from the bush an adolescent T-Rex. You have it, Goose. Tell us what happened. You're playing a dinosaur. Tell us what Goose does. Tell us what a T-Rex does.
Goose stomps in. It's not a sprint. It is the stomp of inevitability. Takes ground in the center of what had been the scattering herd, roars to establish presence and to let anyone else who thinks of trying anything that there is a contender, and then charges the injured hadrosaur directly. With intent to bite.
So again, the sounds of thunder and then the shrieking, like territorial roar of a T-Rex claiming its prize can be heard easily all the way back to Silvercreek. What does Penny, or what does Goose do next? Does Goose? First of all, the herd bolts.
Yeah.
Now, hadrosaur are not fast-moving animals, but neither is T-Rex. T-Rex has short bursts of speed as required. And just as required, you accelerate up and get on top of this injured hadrosaur as it is wailing to get away from you, screaming at you in protest as it looks back. It does not have the capacity of utilizing that weaponized tail, unfortunately, because you see its knee buckles a little bit as it tries to swivel and turn towards you to use that tail to smash you and knock you off your feet.
And with the lack of balance, a freight train comes toward the shoulders, just knock it over, and then bite into the throat and rip.
The impact of these two titans as this injured hadrosaur is slammed into, you just kind of nose this thing as you smash into it. The left knee buckles completely, and all 2 tons of hadrosaur slam into the ground, spattering mud and a huge spray everywhere. So much that it almost looks like slow motion, the sheer amount of this riverbed splashing up over the head, spattering all over Goose as Goose lunges forward and puts 4 tons of force from a T-Rex bite into the side of this animal. The bones break immediately as your jaws clamp down on top of this creature. The shrieking noises that are heard from the riverbeds as far as Silvercreek indicate nobody needs to be an expert in what's happening to know exactly what just took place. Not more than about 200 yards away.
Yeah, I would say the roar and the steps, I know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
There's a particular pitch to Goose.
It's like recognizing someone by the click of their heels.
Exactly. So was very, connected in this conversation with Tego, very conflicted about her own feelings and what to say, but when you're a teenager and you just don't know what to rebel at and you're just mad but you're confused and you don't know what the right answer is yet. So you just sort of are screaming about things. So is screaming at Tego, but doesn't know if he's wrong, but knows that she wants to be right and then roar. And then it sort of snaps her out of it and just sort of bolts from the conversation to go to Goose and then watches and to make sure that the thing being attacked is indeed a thing that Goose should be attacking. And then just sort of lets the steam of the conversation sort of waft off of her as she leans against the sort of paddock fence with Penny without saying anything and just watches Goose have their hunt for the day, because an injured hadrosaur is an acceptable hunt. This is not for fun. This is food. This is okay.
Yeah.
It's better than other predators
It's
coming into the area,
Yeah.
quite frankly. And where Echo was conflicted, Goose, by contrast, has a unity of purpose. They see an opportunity and they take it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't like an orca hunt where you kill, have fun with it, and then just swim away, like they will occasionally do. Although, to be fair, that's mostly to teach their young how to hunt. In this case, though, the sheer power of watching this T-Rex destroy this hadrosaur. It's also worth noting that not a lot of chewing factor involved here. So you have a hadrosaur that's being eaten by a T-Rex. The power of the jaws of the T-Rex are pulverizing the bone as you chomp into this thing. So tearing free, and then much of the ingesting of the animal is like a crocodile, that's snapping the head back and swallowing whole as you pulverize the meat and bone. Echo, as you're watching Goose while this happens, you're taken back to when you first met Goose.
Yeah.
Goose,
Before you continue, all day since talking with Penny and talking about, I hate when it's mixed, when it's not good or bad. And that's just staring at Goose, just thinking about, why is it always mixed, and then continue just watching the chomping.
it streamlines things for you because you're watching the herd become stronger. You're watching Goose do what Goose does.
Yeah.
There is simplicity here. There's no gray areas. There's no concerns about what to do next. There's a purity to watching nature and all of its beauty and cruelty unfold in front of you that simplifies everything so much. And it's this terrifying, wondrous freedom watching Goose devour whatever Goose wants to take from this dead hadrosaur.
And Goose finishes what they want and stand back up, look around, scan to see if there are any scavengers of opportunity. In doing that, they see Echo, look at their prey, look at Echo, and move up fairly quickly, stop just a little short of her, and then look back as if scanning for scavengers again, kind of holding it for you. You're allowed now. You're next up if you need to eat. You are also in you, not them, not them. Hey, not you. But you can if you want. I'm holding it for you.
Yes, there are scavengers in the area too.
Echo recognizes this validation from Goose and sort of crawls over the fence and holds eye contact with Goose while walking up to them, and
gore.
They're
over.
and I don't imagine Goose is looking at me. Goose is watching for me. And there's a sense of like you said, there's a sense of purpose and an understanding of the the different kinds of hunts and the different kinds of protections and responsibilities. Oh God. And runs their hand. Echo reaches up and runs their hand along Goose's form and clocks the many scars along Goose's body, and then goes up to the carcass and takes the blood and smears it on themselves to signify, like, to Goose, I've had my share, and then looks back at everyone else and is like, "We leaving or what?"
When you look back at everyone else that's in the area, what you actually see is emerging from the foliage and the fern all over the ground is what looks like a very sizable herd of raptor, about chicken size. These little dinosaurs coming dashing out of the woods as they've seen this happening. The roar of a T-Rex and the sounds of a dying animal, oh man, that summoned the little scavengers from all over the place. Essentially very similar to Bambi raptors. These little creatures come dashing out of the woods. They are making bleeding sounds as they're watching, their heads kind of craning to the side a little bit as they're watching you. They don't come anywhere close as long as Goose is in the area, but they also, like hyenas, don't have any problems getting too close, and they dash around, confident in their ability that there's so many of them and they can outrun a T-Rex. They are annoying, and they get really close up to the corpse as they kind of circle around, but none of them engages yet. As you watch.
Well, I've given the signal to Goose that I've had mine.
Okay.
And that unless they want any more, we're moving
This
out.
is done. Goose starts at one of them because they wish a mother raptor would. But they don't actually want more.
So like a shark swimming through a school of fish, they part in the direction that you charge and swarm around your flanks, refusing to leave the area, but acknowledging that you're dangerous. I mean, these little small predators are just as persistent as fuck. And they, even though you are the biggest of the bad, there are so many of them and they are so quick that they continue to push that boundary and they don't leave. They
Goose
aggravate you
them.
so much. Yeah.
Goose hates them so much.
It's hyenas versus lions in this regard. Like, these little things just came dashing around, and it takes no time for there to be about maybe 10 to 12 of them darting around and waiting for an opening.
Where's Clever?
Yeah, I'll casually tail swipe, not super at them, just like, remember, I'm scary.
Right.
And I'll move off, and they can.
Well,
B-Dave, you had something you wanted to do.
But two points of clarification. Because I know the hadrosaurs are a food source for us. I mean, is it standard operating procedure for the humans of Silvercreek to like capture meat that the dinosaurs have killed, or is it like
that is something that they do? Yeah, Silvercreek. The people here at Silvercreek will sometimes scavenge a kill for sure. It's easy food source.
So is it reasonable that Silvercreek wants this meat too?
Definitely reasonable.
Perfect. But the second thing is, I would just say, while all of this is happening, Tego doesn't notice at all. And while Steenie would usually be the first one to want to throw hands, she has almost like a PTSD dog reaction to knows when he's in trouble.
No, Steenie is not leaving you. You are in you. There is an absolute aura about you, Teiko, whenever, all the time. And Steenie loves it. Like, there is so much energy about you that other meat doesn't have. And so there is whenever you start pacing, Steenie just kind of like head wobbles with you, and is staying by you and is keeping their eye with you. Whenever this is the part when Steenie looks at you until your eyes meet her.
After a couple of seconds, especially hearing the roaring and chomping and death and everything, that he knows what it is, but it's like, even though it's 200 yards away, it might as well be 2 miles away. And then he kind of like looks at her for a second. He's like, all right. Let's go get you some meat. Just kind of like grab her head a little bit. He's like, go on, watch out for Goose. You know how he gets. And I kind of like slap her on the haunch, and then I also head in the direction of the hill.
Yeah, you get not just a head nod, but a full like sweaty face lick, like full, just like like a big old gross thank you, and then runs off to play with Goose, which usually entails being nipped at a lot and not allowed to eat.
I would say, as Tego heads that way through our comms, I call in, we need to get, we need to get some recovery people out there to see what we can salvage. And also, is it feasible to say that I have a private channel to Skystone? Or is this all just open ban?
Yeah, that's feasible.
I also like I'm heading that way now, but I'm very much like walking because I know she's like but I call Skystone in, if you could, we need to put some guards on the medical tent. I'll explain later, but keep an eye on our guests, please.
What the fuck? You hear Skystone say just over the comm, and then a moment later she just says, what did you find? Tell me something, anything.
They're all from Kalino City. All of them.
I guess in the chaos of that storm coming in, we didn't even think to ask them.
Yeah. Don't mean they're bad people, but that don't mean it can't be used against us.
I get the context. Yeah.
Neat. I'm gonna go help out with whatever the hell's happening at the gates.
I'm going to question them. I'll let you know what I find out.
That's too bad. They might have been better off if I'd done it my way.
No, Tego, it's not better if you've done it your way.
Over and out.
You hear the comms cut out. The rest of you manage to assemble not too long later as a lot of these little raptors are driven off. T-Rex, they'll push the boundaries. Humans with their weapons and fire, being smaller and faster, that gets these little scavengers kind of nervous, and they scatter a little bit more as you all approach, particularly because some of the pet dinos that a lot of the people here in Silvercreek have are problematic for them. They do.
Who still takes credit.
Goose gets credit. Can I just say, in the chaos, Nines is helping, accidentally just walks forward and just steps on one of the little raptors, and it's like in the mud. He's not hurting it, but it's like kind of caught. And Tego looks at it and he's like, y'all think the kids are old enough for a little pet? There's this one, it's like just kind of under Nines' feet.
Yeah. I mean, we'd say 9 steps on one of its tails, and it starts to shriek at it in rage. But again, 9 bigger than Kyla's sword. 9 is a 3-ton tank on 4 legs. And this little dinosaur, the moment 9 kind of realizes he stepped on one of these things, this little Bambi Raptor is not going anywhere.
Honestly, he probably would give it a mlerp, even though it's mad. It's like, he's like, it's like when you hold like a really little aggressive creature and you're like, oh, you're fighting so hard. I want to be friends too, mlerp.
I think that I think that Nine probably thinks that it's trying to be friends with it. Because I think that Clever also is looking at this little herd and is trying to run with them. But every time she gets close to the herd, they kind of like move as a group away from her, and she keeps trying to keep up, and they keep moving away from her. Like, you are clearly not one of us, little guy.
Oh yeah,
she's trying. And River is just watching 9 like, I've got this is my child. I love my big stupid
thunder lizard. Yeah.
And 9 very much turns to look at you to like show you their new friend, kind of grinding this poor thing into the mud a little. The only reason it's still alive is the mud, and the tail just swings and like bashes the hadrosaur. Boom! Like the core of the
That club tail on an ankylosaur.
We're gonna make good use of that, buddy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you can imagine a quadrupled size medieval mace at the end of a 3-ton tank that's being swung around, like the impact of the noise of that tail hitting anything is you can hear the meaty thuds and the breakage of bone from where you are.
River looks at 9 and then looks at the medical tent and goes, no, can't do that. Can't do that.
Every day's good. Every day is good for 9s, you know? Every day.
All right.
Every day's a different day.
So let's go ahead and wrap up for now. We're going to take our quick break, a 10-minute break. When we come back, you guys will be setting off to hunt down the Sati Scout Squad and see what you can find out. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Secrets of Silvercreek. Welcome back to the Secrets of Silvercreek. We're going to go ahead and jump right back into our game. You guys had just finished wrapping up your preparations to go on a bit of a hunt. You're about to branch off and try to get yourselves into a peck of trouble with Sati, hunting down one of their scouting parties to head them off and protect the location of Silvercreek and also learn what they know. By now, it's about 11 in the morning. So you've lost a little bit of the morning daylight. But we will say that you've packed up some minor supplies. Put your... I would say that 9 is probably the pack animal of the pack horse, I should say, of the group. Not really even noticing some of the equipment that you put on 9's back. Piling up there is not a problem. But all of you, save for Penny, have dinosaurs that you can ride. So moving is not going to be that difficult. By the way, that does raise the question: where does Penny? How does Penny keep up with everybody?
I mean, I'm the one with the most wilderness nav, so I think everybody keeps up with me.
Okay, so you're basically taking point as everyone follows you through the thick. All right, so
Yeah. And I'll make a point that I don't ride Goose.
Okay.
It's sort of, we have an agreement that like they are not my horse. They are an individual, and when we join when there is a joined purpose. And right now, this is just
Right, moving is different than hunting. Moving is a thing that each of us does.
Yeah.
And we do it in parallel. Hunting is a thing that we do together. And then if we are taller, we are more fearsome. And so having the echo person on the shoulders makes us taller and establishes dominance. Again, this is important.
Yes.
Okay.
Steenie and we have an understanding that sometimes, I just, for the most part, I don't want to burden her. I realize I'm heavy, so it's just like, we ride out of necessity at times. Otherwise, like, she kind of does her thing, like rummaging through the bushes,
Every once in a while, when I hear that you're farther away, I run back, and it's a lot of like, when you just let the kid roam free because he's got a lot of energy and just he needs to burn it off a little bit. Otherwise things get bad. So it's a lot of running back and then checking in with you and then being like, okay, we're good. And then running off again.
I don't know why. I just have it in my head, especially since my girl is curious. At least once she like stumbles across the path with like a beehive. I don't even know if bees had evolved by then, but like on her, like, in the other direction.
There's plenty of insects, however.
just is it like stuck on her mom?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's like
just trying to shake it off because the bees or whatever like they're attacking her.
Yeah. Oh, come on, girl. Oh.
I think that for River, because 9 is already carrying so much packages, she's walking alongside him. But I think that in order to keep 9 on like a trail and not just like, and now I see something and we're veering enough in this direction, you're trying to like redirect a tank. I think that you see her just occasionally throw like a piece of carrot on the path. And so like 9 goes for the carrot, and then like they just the whole time. So she's got like a bag of like pieces of carrots, and this is how 9 stays on track.
And
Cretaceous-era carrot equivalent. Vegetable being tossed in front of.
And he just shovels like a mouthful of forest floor with like each little bit of carrots.
Yeah, I feel like once we get closer, we'll have to make sure we don't do that, so we don't leave traces. But for right now, it's fine.
And he does just intermittently just splinter small trees. Like it doesn't even occur to him. Like he just kind of keeps walking, and like even like his like mass and the spikes on his edges.
The bone ripping the bark off of trees as you move past them. So Penny,
he is not subtle.
Penny, I'm going to call for the first roll of the game.
Yeah.
So this is going to be anything you have. This is going to be an intellect-based roll. This anything you have in like survival or tracking or anything
I have
like
wilderness
that.
navigation.
Okay, great.
Penny is specialized. This is their focus. This is their thing.
Nice.
This is where they live. They
What
are a
we
surfer, and this is their
tracker.
beach.
And they're a beauty. All right, so I'm going to have you roll. This is going to be difficulty 4.
Cool.
For you,
So-
that drops down to 2
Yep.
immediately.
And that's all I've got because
So 6 or better.
we're not running with an abundant. Our pools are in other places,
Right.
but we roll with advantage.
By the way, just as a quick reminder, by now your pools will have all replenished. If you've spent anything out of your pool since the last game, because this game did take place. So check your character sheets real quick and just make sure you have that, because that was a surprise for the Callisto 6 on a few occasions. Like, whoops, did not reset pools. All right, so go ahead and make a roll. You need a 6 or better on a D20.
I have a 4 and a natural 20.
Okay. That nat 20, nicely done. That is a major effect. So you, first of all, not only do you pick up a good pathway through this portion of the wilderness, because remember, y'all are not on the chalk road. You are adjacent. You are well way into the wilderness here, as it were. This is dangerous territory. It's also very difficult to navigate because the foliage here, the insects, which are numerous and large, and also the wildlife on top of the tree. Everything around here is a pain in the ass to get through. Not only do you find a trail that takes you through, but you immediately pick up signs of what is obvious to you simply because they're trike footprints of the Sati scouting party. You do pick up the human footprints as well, but there's not many of them, maybe 1 or 2, which you immediately assume to mean that some of them are probably riding on the backs of the trikes. But scouting and getting that trail, no problem. So after about an hour's journey north of Silvercreek, around the space where you originally had picked them up is where you pick up their trail. Now, it's worth noting that the trail, when you pick them up, Penny, and spot the first indentation of what looks like one of the trike trails along a human trail, it is closer than your original encounter with them. Which to you means that at some point, they doubled back towards you guys and got as far as to where you were picking them up now before stopping and turning away again.
I have no idea what the implications of that are. I leave that to others.
Well, that's for y'all to. That's pure supposition at this point. You don't know what would have caused them to do that.
No, I know what I see. I don't. But with the natural 20, Clever finds some of the, like, at least some point, Penny gets trail cold as heck.
Okay.
And I think Clever will, please tell me, Rave, how Clever shows us the way.
Oh boy.
Okay. How do you save my butt?
How basically,
because you've been like, Clever has had a bit of a rough day.
Yeah.
But I think with the natural 20, Clever gets a win here.
Aw, thanks.
Please tell me what the win is. That's what I want this effect to be. Thank you.
So are you saying, like, show us how Clever shows you the tracks?
Yeah.
Okay.
How are you the brains of the operation? today.
Oh my god, how is brains the operation?
I
Probably
know, in every way. But
so I think that Clever has seen a herd and wants to like try and like be the herd with this group of people right now, because she's like, I can't get a herd. That herd doesn't want me. So like, we are now the herd is her mentality. So this entire time, I think that like as we have made our way, when we start off, she like ran a few circles around everyone and is border collieing it. And now like moves forward. And I think that cut to Emperor's New Groove, where Kronk is running through the town and it has like background music for him in his head. He can
the
listen
classic
to it
scene
right now. Has background music going on in her head. And so you see her like trying to be stealthy as she like hops from like the edge of the path to like the other edge of the path and like zooming Scooby-Doo like from bush to bush. And I think that she finds the trail and like comes back like and runs straight back to you, Penny, and tugs on like the closest article of clothing, like runs off. And when you take too long because you weren't running either, she's gonna run right back to you, squawk at you, and be like, look. So that's how Clever finds the trail for you.
Okay.
Yay.
Adorable.
Adorable.
Penny, so proud. Penny, the cuddles. Penny, the meat.
The
The meat
meat.
is in Penny's hand. So, I mean, you'll have to get it.
I think that Clever's an messy eater. So it's just like, it's Cookie Monster. It's with it.
With a natural 20, you guys move pretty quickly following along the path. And with a nat 20, you easily make up the lost time for not leaving at the break of dawn. Moving at a pretty good clip. It is worth noting, though, that you are not quiet. This is not a stealthy retinue of dinos and their human companions. Eventually, you find yourselves in the clearing where you had the first encounter. No sign of them anywhere, but you do see the tracks that led back off into the thicker parts of the foliage. What's
Can
up?
I ask? Yeah, question about these tracks. So there is a point when they follow and then turn back.
Yes,
but based on like, I guess I'll ask Penny. So these have to be recent if they survived the storm, right?
Well, so there's tracks on ground, but those aren't the only kind of marks. See that scuff right there, and you can see on a tree there's a very even slice through the wood, as if a piece of metal on like the stirrup of the trike had gone through it. That's the kind of stuff that like doesn't go away in the rain. So like when you're tracking, those are things that I look for.
Which is important too, because it's been enough time has passed that finding tracks for these people would be
hard,
very difficult. What's up, B-Dave?
Can we tell if this is like a grid search pattern or like they fled? Because you can tell, like, I mean, if the trucks are like deeper or like like, do they look chaotic, or does it seem like this is as far as they meant to go that far, go back, go that far?
Yeah, with a natural 20, I can tell you that it does not look like they were fleeing anything. It looks like they pushed deeper after they were. What you imagine, Penny, seeing these tracks where they were when you first detected them and now seeing them again in that original clearing. Being a tracker and being, somebody who's familiar with the wilderness, it takes a lot of imagination to start putting together the pieces of what took place and transpired that led people from A to B to C and to figure out where they might go next. As a result, you can tell from the spacing of the tracks and the indication of like passage through the area that it doesn't look like they fled at all. It looks like they probably waited until they were sure they were clear of you guys and then continued pushing deeper towards Silvercreek. Then inexplicably stopped, rounded back, and headed back the opposite direction. And it doesn't look like they did so in a panic. But the tracks of them going back in the opposite direction are much fresher. The storm, of course, has caused the soil to be very soft around here. And you were still getting the occasional spattering, that gentle, relaxing patting sounds of rain hitting leaves from the treetops above, because it is still gentle showers taking place from the storm that only just left the area.
Is knowing that at least one of them ended up in the river, is there any sign of flooding or the tracks deviating towards the river or anything like that?
Not yet. You haven't detected that yet.
So, OOC on a meta level, how do these things work? Because tyrannosaurs had the second best sense of smell, like in the animal kingdom. Like, I don't know, is there some mechanism for being like, hey, tyrannosaur at an apex predator, do you smell any triceratops? Like, I don't know to what extent.
Literally, if they have that on the sheet, your companion has that on the sheet, then it will come into play. Otherwise, Goose is just like, yep, I'm out here in the wilderness.
I mean, you could have an interaction roll to ask Goose to try to track to see if Goose is willing, and then Goose makes the attempt separately. Those are two level, like it's the two levels of check. Will you do it? And then can you do it?
Yeah.
Like life.
Okay, I guess if you say that out loud, Echo will kind of be like, well, I've never asked Goose to hunt a specific dinosaur before. You know, it's like they might pick up a scent that's wrong, but I can try. There's sort of wander. Like tracking isn't the thing Echo does. Like when Echo stumbles upon a thing and then observes it, doesn't know how to find the thing. And Goose just sort of eats when a thing is there. And so it's like, if it's not in front of our faces, it doesn't exist. So, and we like it that way. So is looking for the broken branches and is like, this might have a trike smell, like, and holds it up to Goose and is like, second breakfast, Goose?
So roll the difficulty of 3.
Okay. Oh, right.
Yeah, this is your base here. And
this would be a 16.
so Goose has a basic understanding of what you're asking for.
Yeah.
She's a good hunter. She isn't the best. She isn't me.
Mm-hmm.
She needs my help. I understand. I'll try.
All right. So any kind of hunting rolls or any kind of like tracking roll, otherwise this is going to be a difficulty 4 check.
My skill is kill.
Yeah.
Same.
That's got to be a t-shirt for the stream punks.
No. That's a 4. So
okay. That's a great stick that she's holding up. Really great stick.
I understand you want help, but
yeah,
it
smells like stick.
Goose gets real low, does a sort of sniff, looks left, looks right.
Oh,
it's not here. So
Blast
what's
like a jet of hot air coming out of the nostrils of this great T-Rex as just sniffing and looking around.
Echo's kind of like, yeah, that's what I thought, and just kind of throws the stick really far, and then looks immediately at Steenie, who goes and runs after the stick.
I was about to say Nines does too. Like the moment the stick, like car going all boom.
So
Goose meanwhile looks to see if you're trying to hit a trike.
I want to put this out there. That even though your animal companions are all familiar with each other, 9 is ever agitated to be constantly around these large predatorial animals. And if 9 comes into vicinity of Steenie going after the same object, there's going to be a bit of a disagreement.
Oh yes, no.
I'm going to
Steenie-
call this a GM intrusion.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Well, now it's an intrusion. I was about to say, I was like, he's clumsy, but she's curious. Would he? But I'm like, no, I think he would. When you're like, boom, he's like, yay!
And to be fair, since it was originally called for by the action, I'm going to call this a GM intrusion on Gina.
Okay.
So Gina, if you accept it, you get 1 XP, and you can hand out an XP to somebody else.
It's good story, so I'm letting
Yeah,
it
no.
happen.
I am. I'm gonna take it.
I have never seen a player so thirsty for GM intrusions than Sam Delev. Like,
Except when they happen to Gina.
Oh, I don't mind. I don't mind.
No,
all right, so
they're
get an
good,
XP
so.
and hand out that XP to whoever you like for whatever reason you like.
I'll give it. Yeah, I'll give it to Sam because this was an interaction between Goose and I, and they did their thing. They tried to help. They tried to
I
help.
looked for you. It's not here.
Yeah,
So
I don't know why you couldn't see that, but I also cannot.
that's
Okay,
what I'm
so
saying.
Steenie-
I can't see it.
okay, so
Um,
Steenie and 9.
Yeah.
The two
So
of you enter into proximity of each other.
Steenie is Steenie is probably incredibly faster, or right?
Incredibly faster, yes.
So this is definitely Steenie sees competition immediately and knows that it becomes a little bit like Steenie's petty. Steenie isn't like, I'm faster, I can get it. Steenie's like, I need to sabotage. Not only can you not get it because I'm faster, but you can't get it. Like Steenie's a little bit of a jerk sometimes when there's competition. Does not handle competition well. And so Steenie is probably trying to like trip or nip at heels in order to not to slow 9s. And yeah, so that's probably what Steenie's doing, being a little bit of a pest, a little jerk.
In that instance, I want to. This is where the GM intrusion is going to come into play.
Yeah.
In that instance, of course, Steenie is learning that nipping at the heels of an ankylosaur and trying to trip a 3-ton quadruped is not exactly feasible for a Dakota Raptor, and she's going to learn this the tough way.
Yeah, I figured. I'm leaning into the intrusion of like Steenie being a jerk.
Totally. Oh no. This is actually this is totally in keeping with Steenie's personality. So this is one of those teachable moments for Steenie. We're gonna do so 9. The GM intrusion is essentially. I'll leave it to you to interpret. It's your NPC to play there, B Dave. Mm-hmm. So I'll leave it to you how you interpret. But an ankylosaur, much like these heavy armored like trikes and all these sort of like these big thunderous quadrupedal animals that come equipped with armor and protective weapons on them, kind of have the same mentality as modern day rhinoceri, which is they can seem docile until they notice you.
We're good until we're not. Yeah,
we're good until we're not. And 9, being the big clumsy oaf that 9 is still a 3-ton ankylosaur that has a bit of a temper when it wants something. And Steenie is aggroing you.
I mean, we're under attack. It's biting me.
Okay, so roll. This is a contested roll then.
Mm-hmm.
So Steenie can try to jump away and get out of this. This is a player roll. So both of you roll a d20.
What are you doing? What is
he's gonna swing, and he's
that's what I was wondering. Was 9 biting me or using tail?
Oh no, he's like he goes from 0 to 1,000. And he means it this time. So he probably
I love 9 so much that he's just a big dumb animal and it just goes 0 to 1,000.
Yeah.
He wants the stick.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a contested roll. What did you roll, B Dave?
13.
13. Does 9 have any combat skills or any kind of ability like that?
He senses time things. So
yeah.
no, he's got 2 health armor. He's a clumsy temporal hunter.
Excellent.
Yep.
Okay,
Mhm.
Steenie. It's a straight up roll. If you have any defensive abilities for Steenie, like a reflex or a dodge or anything like that.
I have initiative, but I don't think that helps me.
No, it's not gonna help.
That helps my bud.
Yeah.
So no. What's that?
Steenie is trained in initiative, not Tego. Like she's fast, not him.
Yeah, this is not an initiative check. You're technically yeah.
So that's, I think, the only thing that would have possibly applied, because the other thing is rip and tear, and
Right.
not trying to kill 9.
Right. You're trying to antagonize 9.
Yeah.
This is that German Shepherd like trying to smack the cat's face into the snow.
Mhm.
Yeah.
This is absolutely kind of Steenie's mentality here.
I think it's a little bit more like Steenie's the cat that keeps like batting the dog, and then the dog finally just like puts the whole cat's head in their mouth.
Right.
Like, you stop now.
What did Steenie roll?
Steenie rolled a 5. So Steenie
gets hit.
Yeah. So I would say the roar happens, and Steenie has a stripe flashback and is like, oh, predator, not friend. Like, not Tego, can't wrestle. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's I can roughhouse. Wait, roughhouse not good always. And then it's just like, again, Steenie is a little bit of the dramatic gopher. It's like eye to tail, and then poof, just like out of frame.
How much tail does that damage do?
I love
that damage do?
How much tail does that damage do? That's a good episode title. 2 points.
Okay, so 2 points of clubbing damage that take that out of Steenie's might pool.
Okay.
As Steenie gets tapped with a very heavy tail.
Yep. And I say like 9 just like swings and like does like hunker down for a second, like, and when she kind of backs off. Stick, but now there's lots of sticks from the tree I just busted up. So he just like bites like 3, like turns and comes back with sticks. Mission accomplished.
Yep.
Yeah.
I would say for Steenie, Steenie probably flew a bit, like, and that's probably surprising for Steenie's ego, because Steenie is heavy, so even a little bit of lift off the ground and momentum is probably quite shocking. And so I would say Steenie is definitely the puppy in the viral videos when you go, "Did you eat this?" and their face kind of like scrunches a bit. Like, I can imagine, like, for you, Tego, Steenie is making a face they've never made before. And they're trying to sort of hide a like slight limp injury of like, ow.
Oh no.
Ow.
He would try and hide it, kind of like, oh, that's what you get. But he does go close enough to make sure nothing's broken, because broken bones are a death sentence. And he saw she just took one hardcore. So it is kind of like, yeah, I know. Let me see. Wiggle your fingers. Come on, wiggle them. Let me see. Open your mouth. Let me see that your mouth can open. Come on, let's smile for me. Come on. All right. And I imagine even her reptilian skin has still got to be like bruised, like just.
Yes, the ankylosaur's tail is kind of it's a hammer made out of bone, and it had more than enough capability of crushing bone when it hit. It was a devastating little weapon that ankylosaurs could employ to protect themselves from animals easily as large as Goose.
And you said it was a 4 damage, right?
It's 2, only 2. Because remember, 9, even though 9 is a large ankylosaur, 9 is not full grown.
Right. Okay.
9 is an adolescent Yeah, nine probably weighs. Nine probably weighs about 3 tons, and Kylosaurs they theorize could get up to 4 tons. So
Yep. Also, he's not the best boy. You know what I mean? Like the hip rotation might not have been there. Like I mean, the will was there, but the calculus.
And there's a little bit of I was probably really close to him, so that the full swing wasn't the end impact point. It was
didn't
like
build
the
up enough
start of the
velocity to
swing.
really do murder.
Yeah.
I will say, all of you would have noticed that he usually is just like this, like goofy boy, but you see, he was like, "Yay, bite, what? Yay!"
Back to being a puppy.
The dial immediately like click.
Oh my God.
So the immediate reaction in the area is like watching a bunch of herders on a farm trying to break up a potentially dangerous fight between cows, which is making a lot of noise, trying to get their attention, trying to get these incredibly large, dangerous animals to calm down for a second. Because the second half of that GM intrusion is Steenie's predator instinct clicks in.
Yeah.
And it's not a bruised ego so much as just, do I need to kill motherfucker? Because you just took a hit. So with Steenie, there's that surge for a second of like, two of these animals trying to remind each other what their purpose, like what it is they do. And at about that point, to the final part of this GM intrusion is I'm going to need both River and I'm going to need Tego to make animal handling checks on this one.
Oh boy, great.
Okay, cool.
Difficulty is 3.
So as you're kind of roughhousing her and trying to get the tail to wag out of the like fog of still bruised ego, but bruised ego that makes it's munch time.
Like
turns
into a liver.
It's a there's the sliver again while eyeing 9, and it's like, you hit me, I get to even the score.
You activated
kind of eyes.
Yeah.
Like
you activated raptor mode.
Yeah.
No.
So
River.
All right.
15.
So what'd you roll?
A 15.
15. Okay.
Tego got an 11.
Okay.
Like,
so
it's literally the exact same scene we had when we were in this spot before, where I'm like, go kill something that way, kill it, murder, you.
Yeah, I think that River has her hands around like Steenie's like muzzle and is like making intense eye contact, like I am the alpha right now, and we're gonna like calm down and we're gonna like pull you away from this situation, pull you away from the tree line, pull you away from anything that your tail can catch. And she's looking at 9, but is calling to Tego. Is Steenie all right?
I appreciate 9 is kind of like, he brings you the sticks and then promptly starts chewing on them because he doesn't know the correlation to the sticks. He's like, I guess I'm eating now, and starts chewing the sticks. But as the rumble comes out of Steenie, it is kind of like, I shift back, like, are we doing this? Like a second.
No.
Like,
hey, and she like calls his eye line back to her. Like,
this head, by the way, is about like trying to call the eye line of an ankylosaur back to you. I mean, the head is the size of your torso.
Yeah.
So you're like trying to pull this dinosaur's head back to look at me.
Like we're walking back this way, like we're breaking that eye line, so like you don't focus too long on it, because I think that's how that's probably how 9 works. Like I'm also thinking about like my husky. Anytime he like sees something, if I can like break his eye line, or if I'm like, you're not paying attention to that anymore, you're paying attention to me, he stops paying like going for it.
The tail is swinging wide, like Tego and Echo and everybody like have to just woo.
Yeah. After two successful rolls, you both managed to get control of the situation.
Yeah, it's Steenie's doing the trying to look around your head as you're trying to match her. Because there's like now, the munching is so loud, and now it's even pure jealousy. Because and then eventually this motion is the same one when you are nervous. So it's almost like a muscle memory in Steenie of the wobble starts to sort of remind her of like, oh no, wait, Tego. And then eventually the like melodic movement of back and forth starts to sort of subside her, but it takes a little bit longer than it did for 9.
So you guys all managed to gain control of the situation. It was a bit of an upset there. There was a bit of this happens. This is not an infrequent occurrence when you have large animals like this in constant proximity of each other, and they're either they get on each other's nerves. They get too close to each other. Especially the cross species, they have a certain predatorial instinct towards one another, and occasionally when they cross paths, this shit happens. Thankfully, the injury was only a bruise. The meaty part of Steenie's thigh is essentially bruised up real nice. But for the most part, Steenie got away without any serious injury. That being said, this whole encounter takes a good half hour out of this tracking, and y'all make a lot of noise as this has been transpiring. But eventually, you do manage to get things under control and wrangle your animals back into line and start proceeding forward. The next few hours, I'm not going to have you roll again because, again, a natural 20 is going to just carry you through as you're making this journey. It takes about 3 hours before you start seeing a change in the tracks. The tracks have not been difficult to follow because it looks like, thanks to the weather, these tracks have not been demolished the way that you would think a normal hurricane rain weather pattern would demolish them, which would indicate that they probably only started moving through this area in the past 24 hours, maybe the past 48 hours, because it's been about 3 days since the storm stopped. And what you're getting from this, Penny, is that they haven't really started moving north again until the storm was done. Now, that could mean that they probably hunkered down when they realized the storm was about to hit. And that could account for why they were moving so slow. But what's alarming about this is it means they're really not that far away. They can't be that far away. So as the day starts to get a bit later, we'll say like around 4 or 5, we're approaching evening.
Oh, we're 3 hours away this close to sundown?
We started late.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
We started
Okay.
late but moved quickly.
Yeah, so we're out pretty far.
Yes, you're out pretty far north now.
Yeah.
At this point, too, it's also worth noting that the terrain has started to change because you are at the foothills of what is going to eventually become a mountain range to your left. The Laramidia mountain range will eventually become the Colorado Rockies in a few 100 million years. Or no, in about 65 million years, this will be the Colorado Rockies range. But right now, it is a spine of towering peaks that crests all the way up the side of Laramidia. It's quite the sight. It also means there's a lot of volcanic activity that can be spotted in the area from time to time, and it's not unusual to be moving through this area when all of a sudden the animals start reacting, and everybody feels that familiar 1 to 2 second moment of silence before all of a sudden the earth starts to move underneath your feet. That's not uncommon at all. If you think earthquakes are frequent right now in California, they are quite frequent in mid-Laramidia. However, at about 5 or so getting close to very late afternoon, is when you stumble across the first sign of alarm, Penny. Because you stumble across a pistol in the mud. It looks like a laser pistol.
Clever finds the shiny thing in the mud.
You want to say Clever finds it? Clever comes running back from just a few feet ahead with a laser pistol in their mouth.
Does it match the last time she stole one?
Yeah.
Because she stole a Sati pistol before.
Yeah.
This is not the first time she's stolen these guns.
Drops it at your feet. Squawk.
Oh no. Oh, good girl. That was, you know what? That was actually really great. You did an amazing job. You're wonderful. It's just the biggest praise and so much treat and such a good, all of your weapon stealing has been validated, but also you found an important clue and Pippa is so proud. And
It's covered in mud.
Just,
It is caked in mud.
okay. Yeah, and it's still been damp today.
Yes, you're still
Yeah.
the intermittent light showers are still taking place.
Yeah. So we can't look at like things like drying mud.
Does this look like a floodplain?
No, you asking
we're
Penny?
near the foothills.
I'm just saying out loud. Like, I mean, is it possible they was camped out here and the floodwaters took them unawares?
No, I think this is the foothills. I think this stuff's more recent. I think they might not be far.
Yeah, but ain't no soldier gonna drop their sidearm in a place like this and not go back for it unless they can't.
Agreed.
I would like to look around for other creature tracks because we still haven't figured out why they stopped and turned around. They could have gotten new orders, but since they're down a man, but I don't know. That's
As you're
different.
glancing around,
Yeah.
I'm going to need Penny, Steenie, and Goose to make an intellect-based roll, D20, with a difficulty of 4.
I'll let you. Yeah, you roll it, Gina. I mean, she's
Okay.
you.
If you have anything in listening or spotting or anything like that, let me know. Smelling definitely counts.
I mean, I'm curious, so
yeah,
it's hard to miss.
Yeah, but Tego gets the benefit because she's curious. So I don't know. I don't know how that interacts, but she is curious.
Right.
Option for me.
Curious companions are likely to explore, discover, run off, detect, investigate, that sort of stuff. It does say that in her personality. That they are good at investigating. If that at all comes into play, there's not a specific attribute or anything. There's no asset that has that, but that's just part of her curious sort of flavoring. I don't know if that helps at all.
That does help. Let's see.
Okay.
I would say that eases it by 1 step.
Okay. And what difficulty is this?
Is that for Steenie?
That's Steenie, yeah.
Okay, cool. So that'll drop the difficulty down to 3.
Okay.
So go ahead and make your rolls.
Neither Goose nor Penny has anything to add. We just rolled.
All right, cool.
That's a 19.
Okay. That means
I
Tego's going to get the benefit of that success.
Okay. I will justify this as Steenie has been on a rampage to one-up the other dinos and is now trying to be the bestest. And so is like, oh, we looking for something? We doing this? We doing this? Oh yeah. Me, a little bit of that attitude. And is really hunting around because the humans look like they're looking for something. So I'm going to find it first.
Mm-hmm.
And Penny happens to be looking in the right direction as well. Just not pass.
Okay, so I know that I've got a success from Steenie. Anybody else succeed?
Penny.
Penny did. Okay, so Penny and Steenie, and now, of course, by default, Tego, watching Steenie suddenly react, that stiffening and looking, and Penny, you're hearing it too, but you hear the distinct sounds of voices off in the distance. It sounds, the best way to describe it is it sounds like when you're coming across like a campsite and the people are being noisy, shouting out to each other, like the sounds of movement. Not too far from here.
I think they're nearby.
I look at Steenie and I give her the stealth command, or try to.
Oh yeah.
Roll a d20. The difficulty is 3. See if Steenie knows what the hell you're saying to her.
That is an 8.
That is a raptor that doesn't know what the hell you just said.
Steenie's not listening to you at all because again, me.
Right.
And you know someone's nearby because Penny confirms it, but Steenie already went into hunt mode. There's a new stick, and I'm gonna bring it back for Dada.
Oh no. Okay, so Steenie, are you gonna dart off then?
Steenie's gone. Steenie's in the
Okay,
brush.
cool.
Steenie's gonna go find Stick.
Okay.
Okay.
Raptor's head dips low, and their from head to tail becomes a flat plane as they go into full hunter mode. And you again are impressed at how this incredibly large feathered raptor dashes off into the brush, making minimal noise for a creature of its size. And she's off like a dart.
Yeah, I double time it after her because I'm less concerned about her hurting somebody and them hurting her. So like when I see that, I'm like, literally like, oh no.
Okay, with Takeo charging off, what are the rest of you doing?
Oh God. I think that River is keeping an eye on 9 and making sure that like he's not starting to charge off now. And so I think that there's a steady like last time she asked him to like creep forward, he did not creep forward. So it's a stay right now. It's
Okay.
and you see everyone running
Roll it.
stay.
He's nosing in the mud where the gun came from. Like, is there anything else here? I don't know.
Difficulty is 3.
I got a 2.
Excellent. You don't know what the hell she's saying.
I mean, everybody's leaving. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, God, I love this game. All right. So,
And Penny is like, clever, just do it. Stay low, stay by me, stay quiet. We are going to be the team. And that you got this.
The second when you say just do it, Clever's mind went to the pistol. Do you want me to shoot something? And no, we're stealthy.
And so Penny actually becomes business, and they auto succeed. Positive social interactions with dinosaurs.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. You automatically, because of your class, so to speak.
I have skill, 2 levels of skill, and I have an asset. So
nice.
So on the rare opportunity that Penny actually means business with Clever.
Oh yeah, it's like
they just
click now. Okay, and like you're my person, so I'm not going to let you get caught. Is like we're being sneaky together now, and so Clever gets it. I would say, and like immediately is like, "Ooh, we got a secret together." Okay.
And Penny moves, and it's a little moving with you, like like a little 2-person herd.
Yeah. Oh no, it's a 2-person.
All right.
And I'll say Echo. I rolled a success to communicate with Goose, and she is knowing there are people nearby. She is grateful there was just an earthquake, and instructs Goose to sort of follow foot, and it is a couple steps at a time. Pause. Couple steps at a time. Pause to imitate aftershock rumbles so that the footsteps don't feel like a incoming predator, but feel like the aftershocks of the earthquake that just happened.
So you're actually having to manage that. You are kind of like with one hand up and glancing back from time to time, letting Goose know, stop. Okay, come, stop. Because you succeeded on the roll, it actually kind of elicits a bit of like a play behavior, because Goose is getting that it's not confusion as much as Goose is actually maybe enjoying this a little bit. Goose
is relatively low energy. They've had a successful hunt today. They haven't been on this stick business, so they are not like super ready to tear off like the other 2. So this is just like some relatively calm, chill time with owner. All right, move and stop, move and stop. And this is what Hunter and I are doing right now. And
okay.
Play.
A lot of you are moving forward if you are attempting to keep quiet.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Steenie is sneaking. They're like they roughhoused last time and lost. So this time they're taking a different approach because they're quite good at actually sneaking.
So then I'm going to call for a stealth check then. This is a speed test.
Yeah,
you have sneaking or stealth or stalking or anything like that?
Yeah, she's trained in initiative and stealth.
Yeah, I'm trained in sneaking.
Okay, great. Oh, perfect. The difficulty of this is not going to be that tough. There's a lot of ambient noise right now. You have managed the approach of your dinosaurs. Oh, wait, no, I'm going to raise the difficulty because I forgot. 9 is following. 9 made a failed roll, and this ankylosaur is moving forward.
Yes, and oh yeah.
So I'm going to set the difficulty of the roll at 4. So you need 12 or better.
Great.
And drop that down if you have stealth abilities or anything like that.
Sorry, you said it was a 4?
Yep, so 12 or better on a d20. And if you have any stealth abilities or training or specialization.
So it's a 3 for Steenie then?
Yes, correct.
I actually roll for both Tego and 9, and 9 actually rolled better than Tego. Tego got a 15, 9 got a 16. So I don't know. It's like extra squishy mud here that just sort of.
That's a good way of saying it. 9 is making sort of a kind of noise every time this massive animal depresses these big clubbed feet right into the mud. However, it's not making an excessive amount of noise. Certainly not enough to give away the den.
I appreciate Steenie's motivation is I lost the stick race last time. I must win. And 9's is like, I won the stick race last time. I'm going to win again. So,
okay.
River got a 16 as well. Yay. And Clever got an 11.
An 11?
Yeah.
Okay. So Clever is not being stealthy.
No.
Okay,
She's
good.
trying.
She's trying. She's really
way too excited right now.
So excited.
All right. What was the other rolls?
Echo succeeded in moving forward correctly. And Steenie is breathing really heavily.
Excellent.
There is a cupcake in front of the kid, and they were told not to touch it. And then the parent left the room because I can't see Dada anymore.
Okay.
And yeah, that was a 3.
Here's what happens. Because Steenie took point on this and dashed off. And Steenie is attempting to be stealthy, but Steenie is running into every branch and low-hanging piece of wood that there is as you're moving through. The mud is quite slippery as you're moving through here. And at one point, Steenie, as you're stepping over a large stone, the incredibly large lethal claw in your foot makes a very loud clicking sound as it taps the top of this stone, which is enough to cause movement in front of you, directly in front of you. You startled something, and you can see the bush move, kind of jerk upwards as there's a swishing sound, and you hear something that sounds, to Steenie, sounds like an alerted animal, like you've just startled something right in front of you.
Steenie wants to know what it is.
How does Steenie figure out what it is? Because animal instinct tells you whatever it is about to run like hell.
Well, if it runs, then it's not attacking me. Head through grass. What is it?
Steenie sees a thing that looks very similar to Dada. Stands on 2 legs, has 2 arms, looks like it's the same kind of creature, except for this one has skins all over it, covered across the top of its torso.
What kind of skins?
You're not sure. Not its own skin. Not its own skin, but
okay. Well, then, neat.
Some of them are brightly colored. It looks terrified when it spots you. This creature is just wide-eyed. Because you failed your stealth check, it's getting to do a thing first.
Okay. I will say I want just one thing for Steenie of how what's the energy of the thing that looks like Dada? Because Steenie likes big auras. So if a person radiates stuff, it's more helpful.
So you're my vibe-based killing machine.
You know in Jurassic Park, the clever girl scene?
Yeah.
Okay. You know how that guy was chill as fuck because he was a badass?
Yeah.
But the rest of us in the theater were freaked out?
Yeah.
The person, imagine a Dakota raptor sticking its head out of the bush like you just did.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing, this person on the other side of the bush is reacting like we did in the theater.
Okay.
It's cat has just uncovered a very terrified mouse kind of reaction.
Okay. So a chaotic energy.
You smell, Steenie smells animal terror.
Adrenaline.
Terror.
Okay.
It's animal terror on this being.
Great. So Steenie smells adrenaline. And that sort of I'll say the curiosity part takes over a little more than danger, because this thing doesn't look injured, but it's definitely frightened. So that's fun. And just does like a full, just goes into a sniffing fit of like figuring out what this thing is, and if it's a toy or if it's something I should kill, or if it's something like, do I play or do I kill? Like sniffing fit before she attacks.
Okay. Steenie's going to make a defense roll now.
Okay.
Because this individual raises what looks like one of those strange things that Steenie's seen the other humans use and attempts to use it on Steenie.
Okay.
The difficulty is a defense check. This is it's speed defense. The difficulty is 4.
Okay. And my initiative doesn't help with this, correct?
Correct, because you failed your stealth check, so it's going to actually get to act on you.
Okay. So then, I would say Steenie is stupidly putting their head really close to this human.
I don't think that's fair. I think
them.
I should throw a GM intrusion at you if I was going to do that. I think you should roll initiative.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. You failed your stealth check, so I'm going to say this being is not surprised.
I got a 14.
A 14? That beats its stealth. So you're actually going to get to go first. What does Steenie do?
Okay. I would say Steenie probably sees the like upswing of whatever this thing is and knows like that's what Dad does when it's angry at a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
And probably immediately like ducks head really low at this person and is like timidly sniffing the shoe, is like, oh, sorry, wasn't allowed to sniff high. Can I sniff low? And like goes to sniff boots. Because the curiosity is still there, but knows like, oh no, did I do a bad thing again? But also there's still too much instinct to like run away.
Okay.
So yeah. So
is the intention to try to disarm this being with cuteness? Or
the intention is to do the same thing that Steenie did with Stripe, which is to sort of show an element of submission. Because you specifically said that this creature reminds them of the shape of Tego. And so yeah. Right, but I mean a large human. Like I imagine if they'd run into like Echo or somebody, that their reaction would be different. But because this reminds them of Tego, the like sort of strength of it, that there is, if this creature that Steenie has encountered has knowledge of dinos, would recognize this as a submissive movement. That their intention is to not eat their boots or therefore their feet, but to sniff them. Like there is not an aggressive face.
This is an intellect check. If you have anything that might help in a diplomatic way here to try to communicate animal submission, you can add that. But the difficulty of this is 5.
Okay.
So you need a 15 or a better.
Let's see. Yeah, no, there's literally sticks their head into the wrong hole and sniffs the creatures. Like this is literally Steenie. Just like they sniff they keep putting their face in the beehive, and now this person's the new beehive.
So what'd you roll?
Yeah, no, that's a 6.
Okay, so I need you to make a defense roll now.
Okay.
Difficulty is 5.
5. Oh boy.
Speed defense.
Nope.
Okay, the shotgun discharges at point blank. And Steenie is immediately hit with 6 points of damage as this person shouts out. You can all hear the thunderous blast of a weapon discharge.
Hold the phone. 6.
Yep, it's a heavy weapon at point blank.
That's all my hit points.
Now, you should have an armor of 1, or do you have an armor of 0?
I have 8 health.
Okay.
And I took 2 this morning.
So do you have pools though, right? Intellect and stuff like that? No? Okay,
No.
Steenie goes down.
So yeah, Steenie is at the foot of this thing that it wanted to interact with, and it is already low to the ground, and it doesn't have far to fall, and it just down on the ground.
The telltale signs of a high energy weapon discharge and the screeching sound of a dinosaur being hit. Tego, you feel this instinct coursing through you the same way that any animal who knows that something bad just happened close by. As the rest of you are tearing into this clearing, when you arrive on scene, it's all happening so fast, but you see bleeding heavily on this pile of stones is Steenie, who's lying there motionless with her mouth slightly agape. There is a wound in the center of her chest. Or rather, no, it's across the top back of her left shoulder. In front of you is a human who has ritually scarred their face. Their hair has been pulled back. It is dreaded up and looks sort of like in a mohawk sort of situation where it kind of like arcs off the top of their head. There are scars lining the top sides of their face coupled with war paint. They have dinosaur leathers strapped across their chest and what looks like a gun in their hands, a shotgun of some kind, one of the more updated ones. Leather pants and dinosaur feathers adorning the upper part and lower parts of their body. You know a scav when you see one. This is a human that lives on the frontier out here with others like them. These scavengers are lethal. They're dangerous. They kill, they maim, they take. And it looks like Steenie stumbled upon one and startled him. And upon the sight of all of you, I see you wanted to do something real quick, Sam. I'm about to call for an initiative roll.
Good. Because Goose would like to cause problems on purpose.
Yeah, same.
So we're going to have everyone roll initiative. And the difficulty is 4. And tell me what y'all get.
19.
You're going first. What is that, 11 or 2? 11?
12 from Penny, 13 from Goose.
Okay.
That's
That's a 2 from 9, by the way. He's like, I'm helping.
All right, so everyone who rolled over a 12 gets to take their action first.
Echo did not, so I would say the sound of a hurt dino immediately causes Echo to not be able to move. They don't want to see what happened. And let's Goose do whatever the hell Goose wants to do right now.
Okay. Who wants to go first?
I mean, I have a 19, so is that enough?
I mean, if you beat
It's like
the
Star Wars,
difficulty,
it's before and after.
yeah, if you beat the difficulty, you guys get to choose who goes to go first. It's your round right now.
Kill that man.
Who's going to do it? Like, who's doing
No,
what?
he shot my best friend. I'm killing that man.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, you
Just-
definitely get first blood.
You see,
Make your
he
attack.
just- Yep.
Difficulty
That is
4.
so. Here's the thing. Difficulty's 4. I hit him. However, I'm not clear on the mechanics of exactly what I can do to increase damage. I do have a number of XP stockpiled. I have a might edge.
What are you using to attack him?
Thunder and lightning.
Okay.
No need for weapons.
Okay.
That's if you spend a level of effort on your might pool, you'll lay in another 3 damage.
I would
Okay.
like to do that.
So you're going to spend 3 points out of your might pool, but you have 2 edge in might, don't you?
I have 1 edge. We figured out that it was worded oddly. I
So
have
you spend
1.
2 points out of your might pool, You're going to
Mhm.
get 3 points of damage
Okay. Okay.
on
All
top of the lethality that you already have because of your talent.
Is there anything else I can do to increase damage by point expenditures
Not
before?
really. You could
okay.
if you had the capacity to spend for a second level of effort, but you don't yet.
So and you say that's 3 extra points of damage.
Yeah, so that should be
So
9 total.
my fists are medium weapons, and
Right.
so that's 4. Then I do 2 additional because I need no weapons. That's 6, and then I've added 3 extra. That's 9.
Okay.
Yep. I just literally like you see when I come into the clearing, like I clock Steenie on the ground, but like don't even stop. Just
Okay. The impact of your fist across this man's face should be enough to shatter the bone of anybody you impact. You can tell the moment you hit him, he's got piercings lining the sides of his jaw, and your knuckles impact along these boned piercings. What's remarkable, Karn, is the moment that this thing hits you, impact across the side of his face, his head snaps back at you, blood and teeth whipping out of his mouth as he snarls. You see he's sharpened the front part of his teeth as he screams at you with saliva spattering all over the place. He does not go down, but you slam into him, and the two of you are now face to face.
I grew up among these people. I just whatever I know is the most disrespectful roar, I give it.
Okay. Who wants to go next? Keep in mind that at this point, Tego is right up on this guy. Who would like to go next?
Goose is disinhibited here and would like to see this thing in look.
You know it's serious when Sam starts a sentence with "look."
The annoying, fairly large but still little thing. No one eats it but me. I haven't eaten it yet. I probably won't eat it. It's not even for food, but no one hurts it except me, and I'm very just no. And it made the boom sound, and it probably thinks that it's the boss, and it's wrong. That would be me. Chomp.
Okay. This is a difficulty 4 check.
All right.
I'm going to raise the difficulty by 1 because it's a T-Rex that's trying not to eat both of them or injure both of them. These are 2 people. If you can imagine the size of a T-Rex head as it's engaging with a bite while these 2 people are showing down. So I'm going to set the difficulty of this at, well, no, I think this would be a difficulty 4 check. Let's keep it at 4. So we'll say difficulty 4 check. What's up?
How do player intrusions work in this case? Like I see Goose coming. I know what this means. Is there something I can do to assist Goose in this?
Yeah, you could, if you want to spend 1 XP for a player intrusion, we can say.
I'm asking. I'm not necessarily doing. I'm way like it is. I'm highly motivated that this motherfucker be extinguished. So
there's not really. I mean, unless you come up with something creative that I haven't thought of, which you could totally do. But there's nothing. I'm not going to penalize because it's not a ranged attack, and I don't want to penalize Goose for the sheer size of Goose attacking this guy. I would just say it's just a roll as needed.
Well, for now, I'm going to let Goose do what Goose does. Then.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Because the dinos don't have a lot of mechanism of decreasing. They actually have no mechanism of decreasing the difficulty of an attack, nor the amount of damage, except through advancement. So 12 or higher. Come on, Goose die. Nope. Goose chomps, but is more concerned with not chomping the wrong one because apparently that's bad. It's really important there's one thing I've learned, it's don't eat the wrong ones. If there's anything Echo has communicated to me, it's don't eat the wrong ones. So I miss because I'm really trying not to eat the wrong one. Okay.
Yeah. There's that moment of hesitation. They're just too intertangled right now, Goose. Who would like to go next? Do we have one more person going?
Yeah. I'm over initiative as well.
Okay, cool.
River, are you or
no? Both River got an 11 and Clever got a 6, so I'm next turn.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Then I'll just, since 9 was rolling fairly low, that means 9 is like kind of still enough that I can haul off my crossbow from I think where we packed and line up and try to get a shot at this guy.
Okay. Make your shot.
Cool.
It's a crossbow.
Yeah, it's a heavy crossbow.
A heavy crossbow. So that's 4 damage. Is that right?
No, that's a heavy weapon.
That's a heavy weapon. So 6 points. 12-pound crossbow.
I am specialized in heavy weapons, so
Okay.
that reduces by 2.
So this is a ranged attack. I'm going to raise the difficulty on this by 1.
Okay.
Because you're shooting at them as they're tangled in. However, specialized is going to drop it down by 2. So
so
the difficulty is 3.
Okay. I'll roll with this and see about saving the effort for damage if I hit.
Okay.
That's a 1 and a 19.
Wow.
Fool's luck.
You do not need to spend effort here for damage. The bolt of that crossbow, as it fires, shatters the man's skull instantly and exits the other side of his head. That scream he's giving you as you shout back at him is cut short and turns into a gurgle as his head snaps to the left from the impact of the bolt, and he goes limp right in front of you, collapsing to the ground.
You notice when he does, Takeout doesn't stop. He's just just like crushing through this guy's like rib cage on the ground.
Okay. Takeout begins to brutalize the corpse of this quite dead scav.
I'll say since initiative is probably dropped.
No more initiative. It's out of combat now.
Hearing Tago's like rage initiates like the pain response to Echo to snap her out of it, and knows like that means Steenie's not okay. Like if Tago's not okay, Steenie's not okay, and so Echo runs straight to Steenie and immediately starts to try to resuscitate her. I have medicine, I have dino knowledge, and I have a med kit from Euron.
The med kit's going to come in handy.
Yeah.
We scavenged med jelly too.
So Echo, when you get to Steenie, there's a gasp when you see the wound.
Yeah.
It's a lethal wound. The moment you get up there, it looks like this blast cratered the upper part of Steenie's back.
Yeah.
And you can see clearly into the underneath the musculature. Now, at this level, again, I want to point out that being advanced sci-fi intermingled with the primal world of the Cretaceous period, you guys actually do have some pretty remarkable medicine capabilities here. Right now, Steenie is doing that terrifying thing where she's breathing like quickly. You can see the shock of the rise and fall of Steenie. You don't know if she's aware of anything. Her eyes are still wide open, and that long tongue is kind of locked out to the side of her mouth. Her mouth is slightly open as she is just gazing forward, seemingly unresponsible. There is a lot of blood as soon as you get up there. And the moment you spot it, you know her odds are not good at all. Very not good. So you do have a chance here to stabilize and save Steenie. Saving animal companions who hit 0 after one shot like that, not easy. So this is going to be a very difficult roll.
Yeah.
I'm going to set the difficulty of this roll at 7.
So now, player intrusion, is there something I can do?
Yes, you can. If you cradle Steenie's head and get in her vision so she can see you, I will lower the difficulty by 1.
Let me I am going to do that. But what it's going to look like is he is going to drag this dude's beaten corpse over and pick her head up and lay it on her lap and just show it to her. Like, I got him. Yeah, okay. If she's going to die, I want her to die. No, fuck that guy though. Okay. Yeah.
I will. Steenie feels feels you and sees the stick dead in Dada's hands. And there's the breathing is heavy from the fact that their body is in shock and they're not feeling very good anymore. They're not feeling good. This is a bad, but Dada's proud. So the breathing slows a little bit more. It's still panting, but there's a little bit more of ease of like, this is bad, but I did the good because Dada's happy. And so locks eyes with you, and their pupils are huge, but they are with you and they feel you. And Echo, would that count as knocking 3 off for the med kit, medicine, trained in medicine, and trained in dino knowledge?
Also, don't one of you have a Cypher that lets you pop a natural 20?
Yes, I'm trying to figure out where I can use that perfectly.
I was about to say, I just realized y'all have that because right now with the difficulty lowered, yes, so the difficulty is going to have lowered from 7 down by 3 if you're going to use all of those abilities.
And 4 technically too.
I'm letting it lower by 1 because B-Dave spent for player intrusion.
Yeah.
I'm going to let him lower the difficulty down to 6. Then you've got all of your assets and your skills.
Down to 3.
Take it 6, 5, 4.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy
Okay.
action on this right now.
Okay.
So only 2 of mine count. Just clarifying.
What do you? I'm sorry. Name off everything you've got.
Dinosaur knowledge, medicine, and the med kit.
2 skills and an asset.
Yeah, that'll be 3.
Okay, so we're down to 3. I will say story-wise to let you keep your 20 to hold on to it if this plays. Echo has a very personal reason why this is also incredibly traumatic at the moment, because they've seen their baby do this. They've seen the heavy breathing while having to look them in the eye, and they've seen them not have good odds, and it be her fault. So this is hard, and she can't let that happen. And so I also, if you're cool, am willing to spend one of my XP to make this not happen. Echo can't watch Steenie stop breathing.
Take it. Yeah.
Okay.
And you have a level of effort.
Yeah, and I have effort. Oh boy. Okay. So what is this difficult? Does this drop that down to a 1 difficulty?
It was at 3, wasn't it?
It was at a 3. I am willing to pay for another level, and then I do have edge.
So edge is going to discount how much it costs to buy down that level. So what's your intellect edge?
But she has a level of effort too. That's what she was saying.
Yes, but edge discounts how much it costs.
Oh, you're right. You're right. I don't have edge and intellect, so I can't do that.
Okay, so it's 3 points out of your intellect, and 3 will drop down to 2.
Okay.
Yeah. So you need 6 or better.
Okay. And then I'm wondering though, if I'm paying, does that also drop?
That's you paying for it.
I meant with XP.
Oh no, XP won't drop the difficulty, but you get a reroll if you spend an XP.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm spending that.
Spend that XP.
That XP. Okay. So to justify that first roll, Echo goes to act, and their hands are shaking far too much, and they know that won't be helpful when they're about to touch a really intense wound. So she jerks back from the injury, and then looks up at Goose, and then shakes it off and goes back down, and she rolled a 19.
Minor effect, no less. With that med kit, once you stabilize your hands, you move forward and pull out a small canister and just begin to spray just outside the wound. Now, this is a spray that takes some finessing to use because it only works in the dermal layer and builds as it goes down, like it takes root. And you have to be very precise on how you trace along the edges of the wound. And this is a shotgun blast. There are entry points all over the cratered area above the left shoulder. You can see the destroyed bone. You can see the damage to the spinal cord. You can see inside of this poor animal as you begin to spray around it. And you steady your breath and you pray that the miracle of the scientific age from which you originally came from is still alive and well inside this med kit that you brought from Silvercreek. There's a tense moment where all of you are watching as Penny's breathing is, or I'm sorry, not Penny, but you're watching as Steenie's breathing begins to slow far more than just being relaxed. It starts to slow like somebody who's about to fall asleep. And there's this tense moment where everyone like cradling this dinosaur as you see every now and then a nerve twitch from her hand as she is like staying conscious surely from the pain. After a few moments, you watch the miraculous growth of flesh beginning to reform on the edge of that wound, and the musculature begin to reach out and fibers to reconnecting as this wound begins to slowly close before your very eyes. But the most important thing you noticed is as the mist from the spray touches the rest of this large wound, the bleeding comes to a stop. Roll 1d6.
You very much hear Tego is in her ear. He's like, if you see that light, you don't chase it, Steen. No, you stay with me. Like they're like kind of holding her muzzle. Like, no. I know you see it. No, Exact same thing I'm doing anytime I'm trying to get her not to kill something.
Yeah.
Don't go towards the light.
Roll a d6, Gina.
Me. 6.
Okay. So Steenie is going to eventually get back 6 points of might of her hit points. But right now she is at 1 and regenerating.
Yeah, because I can
you
only
pulled
technically
spray-
heal 1 at the moment.
Yeah, but she's going to max out. So as you just feel this exhale as you see the membrane blink of Steenie's eyes, indicating there's consciousness and that she's aware.
I just reach over and grab Echo like with my other hand, just like put my forehead against hers for a second there. Yeah.
As everyone's huddled over.
So you just feel copious amounts of sweat, and she kind of bucks you back the way Steenie might. In a loving gesture of like, you can breathe now kind of thing.
A lot of you just huddled over Steenie as she starts to make a recovery from this sudden violent explosion of death that just impacted on the top of her body. While this is happening, River, your eyes have glanced over because as everyone is watching, you've been kind of on the edge of your seat too, watching to make sure that Steenie makes it through this. Your eyes at one point drifted over to the scav. You don't see any signs of a dinosaur companion. Looks like he was alone out here from the looks of it. But everyone else too distracted with what's going on. You hear the sounds of movement to your left. And glancing over to your left, the tree line that's about 60 feet away from you, emerging from it are lots of people who heard the gunshot blast, who heard the shouting, the screaming, the violence, the roars. They emerge, maybe about 20 of them. You see them lining the tree line as they all start to emerge, followed by what looks like an allosaur that is emerging out from behind them. Although the allosaur looks slightly different, like maybe it's a different sort of subspecies, but essentially a large sauropod, slightly smaller than Goose, followed by what looks like a raptor of some kind. Their dino companions also emerging. A woman towards the front who's on the back of what looks like a Utah raptor, this enormous raptor that dwarfs Steenie, comes trotting up. About this point, everyone begins to become aware of what's happening and glances up. And Goose, nobody was aware that these people were emerging, but seeing them all emerge, first of all, they look very like they've been living on the frontier. A lot of them are not wearing what looks like any kind of technological gear, but the first thing you notice is they don't look like the scav at all. A lot of them look like they have ritual paints. A lot of them look like they have like feathers and leathers all across their bodies. But oh man, does Echo recognize that?
Yeah, I was like, when Echo looks up, her face, it's like when you're happy to see someone, but you don't want to see them. There is a oh boy, like
there's this woman on the back of the Utah Raptor that looks very much like Michonne. She has her hair pulled back and a large sword across her back. You can see she has a mishmash of technologies. This Utah Raptor looks like it doesn't even really have a harness. She is riding bareback. She kicks her feet up as the Raptor comes to a stop, and the Raptor turns to the left. She looks at all of you as everyone's kind of waiting in anticipation.
Echo stands, so she knows that she makes herself visible.
And when you stand, she notices you and says, "Hello again, Echo." And that's where we have to end today's episode, because it is 3:10.
Oh, perfectly smooth and uneventful.
We almost lost someone, y'all.
You cannot hurt my imaginary dinosaur baby. Like you think, like if she had died, like it's like, well, Tego's Captain Ahab now. Like he's like he just spends his days killing Savs.
So the audience knows there is no specific rule. Typically in Cypher, if you hit 0, that's that.
Yeah.
But the thing is like there's also just a real opportunity for dramatic moments where you make the risk to failure very real by setting the difficulty at 7. For people who are not superheroes, you need to roll a 21 or better. You've got to spend in order to make it happen. So we threw everything we could at them to make that a challenging, dramatic roll. It is very likely that Steenie could have died right there in front of all of you.
2 XP got spent.
2 XP got spent. You used all of your assets and specializations and skills, and you saved Steenie from death. She is going to be recovering, but you did not lose your dino companion today.
So when are we holding the bake sale to get Steenie some armor?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That is going to bring a close to today's session. This was session number 3. And you guys have just met one of the factions that lives here in Laramidia. So we'll see what happens in the next episode of Secrets of Silvercreek. Thank y'all. This was a really intense, but also delightful, wonderful session. So thank y'all so much. I look forward to Saturdays all the time now for this game. So much fun to run for you guys. Thank you, Ox Crew, and everybody who's jumped in to join us today to travel back to the Cretaceous period. We will catch you the same time next week. We've got Clear Skies coming up Monday night at 6:30 p.m. So definitely stay tuned for that, because things are getting interesting there as well. We will catch you next time. Until then, stay whimsical, everyone.